And your pasta, no clue far from the clan. Tottenham stranded in shadows, no man's land. Lost on the pitch, echoes in the night. Fans screaming loud, no end in sight. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football mist. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football mist. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Speechless, impressed, they're at the ground. No solutions, nowhere to be found. Fast on the side, hearts turn to stone. Stadium echoes a lonesome drone. Whispers in the air, they speak of change. Up on the horizon feels so strange. Question marks in every wayward pass. And ghosts the future fading fast. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
And bang, we're straight in there. Welcome, everybody. Right, here we go. So, best place to be, Monday night, as Still normally says. And our astute normal host is on that far side because he's feeling poorly. So, everyone send him some love. Apart from, all the normal love that you normally send him, but kind of like give him some get well soons. But no, what a weekend, eh? Arsenal lost. Chelsea didn't win. West Ham got battered again. And we won 4-1. Well, hey, are we all happy? Iggy.
Well, it's a sore subject here with about happiness. God, you can't express too much happiness. I was happy with the result. I was happy with yesterday, but today all focus shifts towards the next game. But before we add anything else, and before everyone else gets the introductions and hellos, mate, that intro's got to go, man. That intro's got to go. It's not for me, man. Like I love when we got Tottenham away. I love that one. That's probably it's always been my favorite. There was a time that we even spoke about changing it, if you remember, and I was like, no. We got to keep but that one there and Postecoglou, that's got. Come on, man.
Tell us what you think.
Can't be having that. Can't be. At least play it when we lose. And when we win, we play a happy one. When we lose, you go for that one. That's how it should be, man.
Anyway,
in my humble opinion, guys. But yeah, man, I'm happy about yesterday's result.
What you think?
Second half, we saw at half time what we did against Bayern, and we also showed what we can do at half, in the second half against Aston Villa. So I'd much rather the second half versus Aston Villa, to be quite honest.
Yep, I'm sure we'll go into it. Stell, what's up, my man? Bit poorly?
Yeah, feeling rough, man. I don't know what. I've come down with something. God knows
That's what happens when Tottenham win.
Yeah.
That's what happens to him.
Listen, if you want a happy clap, go for it. You clap away. I don't like
It's
the
got
intro.
Postacog flu.
I don't like the intro. The intro upsets me.
It upsets me. It upsets my happy clapping.
Poor
It upsets my happy clapping. Yeah, man. I want a
Happiness
song.
is low.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah, we listen. We beat Aston Villa at home. Good win. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't change anything for me. I stick to what I've said all along.
It feels nothing.
Nothing's changed.
No.
Nothing's changed. Every manager at Spurs has one or two really, really impressive victories during the season. I think we smashed Villa 4-0 last year, but the field tilt looks good. The XG to the XA is sexy. So let you clap away, man. I'm not bothered. Doesn't affect me.
Fundamentally, all jokingness aside, fundamentally, man, it's going to be at the end of the season, man. That will be the time where I will draw all my conclusions, right? In this season under Postecoglou and so forth and so forth.
Oh no! You and Ian have gone already, mate. No, you're not doing that.
You've gone early, have they? They've gone early.
How the hell have I gone early by saying I'm happy when Tottenham win, celebrate when Tottenham win a game? How is that going too early, man? I don't understand this. If you want to
Anyway,
get it
we'll
in
get
for
into
now,
it,
yeah, I don't worry.
Iggy,
Let everyone
Iggy,
say
we'll get
hello
into
first.
it.
Yeah,
How you
no,
doing,
we'll
Maz?
get
What's
there.
happening,
We'll get
man?
there. We'll get there.
Yes, you, Maz.
I'm warming up. I'm actually starting to take my jacket off in a minute.
How you, Maz?
I am good. I think that when sorry, my wife was walking in and speaking to me, and she knows I've got headphones on, so I can't hear her. So, but
I have to try that.
I'm good. I think that when you beat, regardless of the competition, but when you beat two top quality sides, you can't be sad. I think you've got to take the win against those top quality sides. I'm with Stell. I don't think anything's really changed. My opinion of Ange hasn't changed. I'm still seeing the same flaws despite how well we played as before. But look, if Ange continues what he's doing and proves us wrong, then that's what we want, right? So open mind and all that.
That is the thing.
Still don't like him. I still think he's the most delusional manager we've ever had. I still think he's tactically clueless. I can go on, but I'll save it for later.
Damn. Savage.
Nice to know Maz is back.
Savage.
Ian, how you keeping, man?
Very well, thanks today. Very well, much better than when I was sitting there this time last week.
Oh, yeah, geez, tell me about it.
Agreed.
And they're the things you got to assess, right?
Absolutely.
And the man who doesn't have a red wall anymore.
It's gone.
He did say it
It's
was
not
going.
blue, but it's gone. Can't have red any longer. That's it. It's done.
He's had a haircut. He's had a haircut as well, isn't he?
And I've had it. Oh no, it's double bubble this week. Red wall's gone. Bad haircut. Jesus.
Tottenham
The
win.
big spenders.
Quick summary of the win. Happy for you?
Quick summary.
You happy?
Listen, all I'm going to say is I've been harping on about this week in, week out, and I'm sticking to it. When teams let us play the way that we want to play and don't high press us, we look good. As soon as the high press comes, we look bang average. It's another Villa team that turned up and he got it wrong. No high press. We could play around. Bit sketchy in the first half, but second half, fantastic. Really well done.
Lee, don't you think that statement, right? I agree with what you're saying, by the way, but part of me thinks when you say when the other teams allow us to play, we look good, isn't that the same for any system and any manager?
Yeah, but there's people that there are managers that will not fear coming to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, or even when we're in our away matches, right, which will play their own way. I don't think Villa played their own way yesterday. They're usually quite a high line, high pressing, and they didn't. And that allowed us to pass the ball around. I think the point I'm trying to get to is when people put pressure on us, it shows we don't have the quality of a Man City to still play up from the back and play around through the midfield and up front. It doesn't work with the quality and level we've got. But when teams sit off us and don't high pressure us, then it's easy to pass around, right? It's easy to score goals. And we've done that. And that's what we did in the second half. It was
But the
great. It was great to watch.
The question begs, though, for a manager like Emery, right? He's been getting a lot of praise. He's been doing really well in the Champions League. And, you know, up until probably yesterday, I thought Aston Villa had been doing well this season. So don't you find it, I'm saying this can go to all of you guys. Don't you find it funny that given all of this, all this information, and given that he would have known that about Tottenham, why he opted to go that way instead of what we probably thought Aston Villa. Well, I honestly thought Aston Villa will probably do the opposite of what they fundamentally did.
Well,
Are you surprised by a manager as good as we all rate Emery? I don't know if you guys. I mean, I rate him.
He's done that before, though, hasn't he, Iggy? Though he when he plays us, you know, certain managers have their sort of bogey managers that they hate playing against, and Emery almost hates playing against Ange, doesn't he? In a way, because we pumped him last time.
Exactly. So there was no lesson there, was there? Really? Because he kind of
done the same. Yeah.
It was another 4 goals. You know. So
the thing is, during that game, you kind of went and kind of, I'm sure we'll split it by first half, second half. Like when they went 1-0 up, you almost thought, like, and I said to the guy next to me, from Villa's perspective, they've kind of almost got this in the bag now. If they because they were quite steady at the back, they were quite organised, like kind of like in that first half. And literally, if they just dropped back a little bit and played that low block, hit us on the break, but defended as they would do, they probably would have been all right. But for some reason,
that's my point, though. It's not. This is the thing. When we have trouble with 2 things: high pressure and low block. Villa didn't do that. They sat in the middle. They didn't put the high press on, but they weren't just sat back, and that's why we countered them. That's why we got them on the counter a lot of the times as well. Because
I totally agree, Lee. I think you're spot on there, and it's almost
that's our perfect bubble, Mez. When teams do that,
it's almost a bit disappointing from Villa's point of view. And I bet that I might go and check out some of their fan channels tomorrow, but I bet you they're thinking, but everyone knows how to beat Spurs, so why didn't we just low block?
That's the point.
Right? Like you said, low block, put pressure on them, hit them on the counter, done. Yeah. Because that's how everyone beats us. So
have they got Champions League this week?
Yeah, and like, fun enough, they've
wondering if you had one thought on that.
I think they're playing Wednesday, you know, which is why I think they made those subs quite early. Because who's that guy they took off? Who was playing really well? Was he up front?
Well, Rogers got injured by Romero's tackle, didn't he? When Romero got hurt, Romero put him out of the game.
Yeah, but he put himself out of the game as well.
I think Emery absolutely fucked that. Completely fucked it. That first half.
Surprisingly, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm surprised.
Not really, Iggy. He does have it in him. If you remember the Europa Cup final, where he took Arsenal, who were better than Chelsea that season, took them to Europa Cup final, and Chelsea whooped them 4-1. Unai Emery's got it in him to do things like that, which is why he's never won a league title outside of France when he managed PSG. He's never done it in Spain, never done it in.
No, what I was trying to say, still, surprising that given that he got pumped 4-0 at home, you thought he might have come over having learned from that.
No, the thing is, he got it right in the first half, because in the first half, what he did was it was a half where it felt like, yeah, we're doing well, but the reality was we weren't doing well in that first half. And if you look at the stats, it proves it. If you just watch what we created, their goalkeeper did nothing in that first half. He had nothing to do. We created nothing.
Martinez single shots on target.
Horseshoe football style. That's what we were doing.
It was the easiest game. And Unai Emery was hoping if we just get one chance, one set piece, one moment, and we bag it, game on. He got that. They scored. And then about 10, 15 minutes later, Ollie Watkins went through again and missed a chance to go 2-0 up. I think Romero just did enough to put him off. Half-time 1-0. If Emery just camped in his box, shut shop, and just left Watkins and one other player on the halfway line and just sent it long whenever they got a chance, I think we were in big trouble. What he did was he left a significant gap behind the defence. And this is what Brentford did last year. I remember when we were losing to Brentford, and then for whatever reason, second half, Brentford slightly pushed up and we got back in the game and won it. Unai did the same thing. That's what we want. And if Unai just literally went Mourinho mode second half, it was game over. Because that first half, he nullified us. They were physically dominating us as well. But where I give credit to Spurs is the first 20, 25 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes, our intensity was so high, really, really high. And we made them work their asses off and they couldn't handle it. But I think it's a mixture of our intensity going up and the fullbacks overlapping instead of inverting, and Unai Emery just completely fucking his tap. Basically, what we did second half against Brighton, we should have just sat deep and protect.
It was quite reversed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was reversed. That's
Still,
thankfully for us.
Still, why do you think that these managers that decide to move the defenses up and press us higher up the pitch rather than sitting deep 2 banks or 4, why do you think that they do that, knowing how vulnerable we are when they do that, and how lack of creativity we have when they do that? Because it is a bit baffling, because the blueprint is there, isn't it?
I don't know. Ask Unai Emery. That's why I said he fucked it. The blueprint is there, yeah.
Is that also because they know, and again, it's a kind of, let's see what you guys think. They obviously
we
know
capitalised on it though, right? But we did capitalise on his fuck up, which is, credit to Ange, because
kind of like
the half-time team talk was good because they came out with a lot of energy.
I just want to say something.
Play,
Jordan's
right?
saying now we're feeling sorry for our position. I'm not feeling sorry for them. I'm just trying to understand their thought process, because I think the way that Ange adapted in the second half really punished them, and I want to give him credit for that later on when we move on to it. But I just want to know why, because Emery's done this twice. Last season, where he just changed the formation completely. And he just changed the way Villa played, and we punished him for it. And this time, in the second half, he had a system that was working. It nullified us. Yet,
do you know what it might be, Maz? Maz, do you know what it might be? When Mourinho and Conte used to do it, as fans, we booed and we hissed and we called it turgid and dinosaur football. Just maybe some managers are scared of criticism, of doing what people don't want to do anymore, which is just shut shop, park the bus. Maybe managers are scared to do it because they'll be criticised.
What did you guys like about Tottenham yesterday? What's the one thing that stood out for you above all else for the match yesterday? Well, particularly more so when we came out second half.
The wing backs, the overloads,
the fullbacks.
Yeah, they actually played like fullbacks.
It made a big difference, didn't they?
They played like fullbacks.
Yeah.
You know what? I was
said anything.
What do I think? I thought Solanke yesterday's second half was just immense. What a performance! Seriously.
In what sense? What was the thing that you liked about him?
Just the whole thing. The whole thing. I mean, he was the pressing. He led the press. People say, "Oh, it's only a press. We didn't pay 60 million for a press." That's part of his game. I thought his all-round game was phenomenal yesterday. I thought Sarr got about the pitch brilliantly. I think, regardless of whatever fuck up you may think Emery made, I think we absolutely battered them second half. And McGinn came out and admitted it.
I agree. I
think this is all about the performance, and I've got a theory. I was thinking about the conversation that we had last night, where we were talking about the difference between home and away, and the performances. And it's directly linked with the manager, because if you look, the manager's performances tactically with substitutions and in-game management at home, bar Arsenal, we could have been playing now, we wouldn't have scored. Bar Arsenal, his team selections, his substitutions, the timing of the substitutions at home have been excellent. Made changes against Brentford, came out, took control, did the same against West Ham, did the same yesterday. And you look at Brighton, you look at Palace, Leicester, if it hadn't have been for Bentancur's injury, we may well have lost because Leicester had taken control. And he made the 4 changes when Bentancur, when they picked him up and took him off the pitch. And Spurs got back. Spurs pulled the game back, pulled control back. Newcastle, again, his mistake, should have played a lower block, playing against fast strikers without Van der Ven. Palace was appalling. Brighton second half, he did nothing. Yet at home, he's doing well. And I think the correlation between the results at home and away with the player's performance and his performance, I think tie in very, very closely. If he's got to start getting his act together. It's not just the players with the mentality that we were talking about. I think he's got to sort himself out away from home as well.
Do you know? Sorry, just real quick. Like,
so half of our games are away though.
No, absolutely.
Big up. No. All I was going to say is, like, because obviously the start of the game yesterday, 2 things that were like, I wanted to carry on with what Steph mentioned about the fullbacks. So I noticed that as well. The fullbacks seem to be playing more on the outside and less the inverted thing. So there's always, I don't know if there was a change for yesterday's game, or do you think there's something that's changed moving forwards? And secondly, what did you guys make of Sarr being selected ahead of Maddison? Because I thought Maddison would play or would start the game, but he opted to go for Sarr. And what was the thinking behind that?
I think he saw.
Ian, just really, really quickly, because we've got a super chat here. I'm just going to read it out quickly. Thank you, Sanila, for your lovely donation, and vote for Iggy for president tomorrow.
No president for me.
No, Ian.
This happy clapper behaviour is getting out of control. You know that people are now saying,
vote Iggy.
We are.
Can I just
president is something else, man. I'm letting those people do what they want to do. That
we are reaching new highs of happiness.
Still,
why you got to be like that?
liked about
No.
Why you got to be like that? That people are out there that are happy about yesterday's result.
I'm stunned. They want you as president because we're 7th in the league. I'm just.
I don't want to be president. I never asked to be president. It's like I'm not. I don't want it. It's fine. I'm all right.
What's up, Sava? You all right, man?
I'm all right. I'm just, as long as everyone doesn't mind, I'm just ordering a McDonald's off Uber Eats the stream. So, hello, how are we?
Can I just say a couple of things? Firstly, in answer to the question, I think we played 2 holding midfield players against Man City, and the team looked much more balanced. And I think Ange stayed with that. And I think, he also looked at the opposition as well. Might be okay playing Maddison and Kulu together, maybe against Ipswich, but not against Villa. And secondly, Iggy, do you agree that Steele's worried that Tottenham away is going to be known as the Happy Clappers? What do you reckon?
Listen. I had enough of that all yesterday's stream. I'm not. Tonight is a more calmer one, and I want to focus more on the game and stuff like that. I'm not going into it the way we did yesterday. It was funny.
I said it, Iggy, how we finished the show last night, that should be the opening for Steele.
No,
you have a laugh. You've got to have a laugh.
Listen, you know that in 10
because these videos are getting replayed.
In
Make
10,
sure
I
you're
was
here
just,
Wednesday
do you know what? I was just about to say that.
Next week,
I was
after
just
Ipswich.
because I know him a little bit. I know him a little bit now. Where I was just about to say, this is like, in 5, 10, 15 games, even the end of the season, he's gonna do a compilation of all of this, right? Right? And he's gonna go the November happy clapping, and so I know already he's clipping. He's probably got notes there. Like he's got show me your desk. You probably got a book there with minutes and streams.
He's already picked out the song. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
This is exactly what everyone did last year after 10 games. Cast your mind.
Not
back.
me. No.
Exactly
Listen,
what happened
no
last
one.
year.
No one's listen. No one. I listen. I'll talk for me. Everyone else can. I'm not getting carried away. It's nothing to get carried away. All my point has ever been, guys, from when I did that video was, I'm just enjoying when Spurs win because I'm fed up of us being in disarray. I'm fed up of stupid games. I was fed up after that Crystal Palace game where we didn't even turn up for that game. I agree, and this the whole point of the tonight's stream is, can we be consistent? I think that's a really valid conversation debate to have. That's the tricky part now, isn't it? Moving forwards, we have to be consistent, home and away. We're doing really well at home, and we're doing really poor away. I think somewhere in between where we can kind of just, because I think it's our away form that's letting us down more than anything else. And yeah, we can talk about all the other stuff and further ahead, but right now, and obviously how we tackle this Van de Ven, Romero not being in central of our defence for I don't know how long.
I don't mind it.
What, Ben Davies and Dragusin?
I think Romero's been utterly shite this season. I don't mind him not playing. I don't mind him not. I don't see what he. At the moment, I think he gets again. He keeps getting a lot of hype, but when he goes off, I think we look more assured at the back. And somebody put it really well to me today, Iggy, right? And I saw all your happy clapping yesterday, Iggy. I was in the chat. Don't worry.
Why you got to be like that as well? I don't know if I've got to do with him. I've got to do with you
I've
as
seen
well.
you a few times this year. Happy clapping. Vicario's the greatest goalkeeper in the world. Emerson Royale's the best right back in the Italian league.
Stop it. Those words have never come out of my mouth.
No, look,
But I won't listen. Even yesterday, right? Regarding Vicario, he got cussed for that goal. And I'm thinking, like, seriously, man, like,
madness.
How is it only him? How is it not our setup? It's wrong.
Hang on. Can I just before?
All right, we'll get to that as well. We'll get to it.
For me, look, I think in the long term, look, you want Van de Ven in there. I think Van de Ven allows you to play that higher line, right? But somebody put it in a really good way to me today in my chat where they said, when Davis and Dragusin have played together, which has been like the last half an hour of the last two games, right? I don't know the exact minutes, but they've ended both games, right? It allows us to actually have a conventional back four. And when we have the conventional back four, I'm only me personally, lads, I'm sure you're all your own personalities. I don't shit myself every 5 minutes that we're going to concede a ball because we've got this massive gaping gap in behind us. And I'm not saying I want Ben Davis and Dragusin to start every game, but I think when they finish the games and against the caliber that they played against, I actually think they've looked solid because they're actually defending. Romero, for me, again, everyone keeps saying he's calmed down, he's changed. This nonsense that he does in games, coming out into midfield, kicking people in the air for no reason at all. I just think it wouldn't do a harm for him to not play for a little bit and actually realise why we signed Radu Dragusin and actually say, right.
I think he was solid yesterday, by the way, Dragusin. I really think he was good.
I don't think he's done much wrong.
I think
Romero was actually having a bit of beef with that Ollie. What's his name? Up front, and
Rogers.
Just before that, they were like going at each other, and there was a free kick, and they were pushing each other and stuff like that. And then I said to the guy next to me, "You watch, Romero's going to go and take him out." And it almost felt like he was looking for a red card just to get a couple of weeks off.
JP, I'm glad Romero went off with an injury. Right, I hope it's not long term, but I'm glad because he was going to get a red card in that game yesterday. Get a free game ban.
Like he wanted.
He was going to get a free game ban yesterday. He put 2 late challenges that gave away a free kick, and he got booked. I thought he's getting a red today. You can see it. He's brewing.
But people were saying that he was wearing a metatarsal protector on his foot, and that's what probably. I'm hoping it's not like a metatarsal injury. Of course not, but it just it concerns me to have.
He'll be
Yeah,
out for
it
the
could.
season.
It can for a while. Yeah, it concerns me to have both Van der Ven and Romero out for a long period. I know Van der Ven's going to be back after the international break. Look, regarding Ben Davis, I agree. I think for the last 15, 20 minutes, whenever you want to solidify a little bit of defence or want to protect the lead, I don't mind him coming on as such. But to having them from the start, alongside Dragusin, leaves us a bit suspect, especially if we're facing a team or striker that's got a little bit of pace in him. But like I said, I'm not
Yeah, but
worried
the
for the
thing
fact.
is, what I was going to say based on what Sava said was that knowing the way we play with Van der Ven, we seem to play high up, right? And I
Yeah.
think even last year when Davies came in, we were still playing high up.
Yeah.
And if Romero wasn't there, we were still playing high up.
I
Whereas yesterday, while both of those were on, it didn't
Yeah.
seem that we were so high.
No, JP, if we can tweak it, depending on the personnel we have, we can tweak it, we can drop 5-10 yards with those two centre backs. In the way we were just talking, Stel was talking about the fullbacks
They know they
yesterday.
haven't got pace.
Yeah, the fullbacks, for example, weren't so inverted. Yesterday they were playing on the outside. So we can tweak it depending on who we have available and the opposition in front of us, which is something that we've been very, very critical of our manager. Me too, where he hasn't adjusted. He has always kept going and said, maybe, just maybe. I'm not saying, look, it would take me
I
a few
don't
more
know if
games.
there's evidence for that, Iggy, though, because he
It would
seems
take.
to,
I would need to see
when
more
he's at
games.
home, he seems to be making more correct calls and better substitutions, and he's tactically better. Our home record proves that, right?
Yeah.
As soon as he goes away, it's like he forgets how to manage a football team and it starts reverting back to
It's
type.
weird. It's weird. I can't put. Yeah, it's weird. You're right. It's
Iggy,
weird. No, but
Iggy,
it's
it's
even a
simple.
mentality. It's
not
even a
just-
mentality.
When Ange stops playing Ange ball, we look good. When he stops playing Ange ball, we look good. No stupid high line, no inverted fullbacks. Right? When he stops playing Ange ball, we actually look good.
I was going to say this point about 10 minutes ago, right, to what Sava said, right? Yesterday, what I noticed, they weren't inverting. They were playing more like a back four. And this is before Dragusin and Davis even came on. The point, this is really simple, guys. And Gary Neville has been harping on about this for weeks and weeks and weeks. When Dragusin or Davis get the ball, their first instinct is to look for a pass, a quick pass. Out it comes, quick pass. Romero sits on the ball and stands on the ball for so long, it allows the other team to get in position, get into a shape. And Gary Neville was on it yesterday. He was going, don't understand why defenders keep doing this. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. They need to stop doing it. And Romero is one of the worst for it. And I hate the way that he
he does it. He does it, though, Lee, because in his head, he's thinking, okay, well, if I hold on to the ball, I'll draw them.
He thinks he's playing in Argentina against fucking Peru. That's what he thinks.
I'll draw them into us, and then we'll just, do a few triangles, pass it around them, and then we'll hit.
Doesn't work because we don't move.
It don't work, and it just doesn't work.
But the likes of Davis and Dragusin know. Well, I say they know, but you know they're not on the same kind of skill level as some of the players. Like Van der Ven can get the ball and he can take it round a person first, right? He can put a little bit of pace behind and get around them. Well, they can't. So their thing when they get the ball, they've got to make a quick pass because they don't want to be pressured on. Now, I don't think Aston Villa put a high press on us anyway. So they were still making those really quick passes into the midfield or down the line. Or Dragusin, especially yesterday, if he couldn't make a pass along the floor, he went over the top, right to the second line into like Solanke and stuff where they can hold it up or down the line. It just changes our play. Whereas we're so one-dimensional when Romero plays and we're just doing the same thing over and over again. Whereas those two changed it. It was either going over the top or it was a quick pass into midfield or something like that. And that's what I think confused Aston Villa. They didn't know where we were going to play, which is exactly how you want to play as a football team, right? You don't want the other team to know exactly what you're doing all the time. And I felt when they came on, even though we'd already scored one of the goals, I think we looked completely different. I feel it was really refreshing to see and not see Udogie in that. And I don't think we were playing very much of a high line yesterday.
I agree with you. When Romero brings it out, one of the things I kept noticing on my watch along yesterday was when Romero brings it out, 9 times out of 10, I've made that stat up by the way. 9 times out of 10, it's so slow. It's so slow,
and then he stops.
And he stops.
You mad.
But when he does fizz it in quicker to the front players or pings it quicker, we start off much better. But 9 times out of 10, it's this pointless pass. You've seen it between Van der Ven and Romero. So many passes between them at the back where it's slow. Advance the ball. The other team has set off us. They're not pressing us. Bring it forward. But look, everyone knows my feeling on Romero. I think he's a good centre-half. I think he's been massively overrated for about 3 years. I'm really bored of hearing, oh, but look how good he is for Argentina. Yeah, but again, 90% of the games you play for your national team are going to be against minnows. I think he's one. If a big bid came in, I don't think we'd have any problem replacing him. That's just me. I know no one said.
The thing is, one of the things he is really good at is playing from the back, which is why I'm surprised that the instruction from the sidelines isn't getting into him where he shouldn't be taking as long as he is. Just play it. Just play it. You get it. You see the pass, play it. Get it into the midfielders as quickly as possible. The same way you would say the midfielders, get it into the strikers as quickly as you can, because it doesn't give time the opposition to set. So I'm surprised that there has to be a level of instruction from the sidelines for him to do what he does, because I can't explain it why he wouldn't be told.
This confuses me, though, Iggy.
Here's a quick question
Iggy, this confuses me. How can
minds in it?
I don't. I think we've said. I think we've said that for weeks. But just one point to your point, Iggy. This is what I don't get. When Ange says we play our way and we don't change from it, yet you've got 2 players in the same position that are doing different things. Is it really coming from the side, or is it coming from him and the way that he's playing out from the back? Because
that's what I would love to know, because I can't explain it.
It can't be both. It can't be both.
Can I tell you an observation I've made with Spurs? With Romero, it's not just him. The movement of the number 6 and the fullback when Romero receives the ball so often isn't there for him. And then he begins to dally on the ball too long, because the players who are supposed to move into the position they're supposed to go, because I've seen what Spurs are doing in training, the patterns of play. They're not doing it. So we get caught. If you look at yesterday's game, not one goal came from playing out from the back. All our goals came from a high press.
Winning it up
or a set piece. Even the goal Solanke scored, Ben Davies came charging out. His first touch was a block that went forward, and then our Spurs playing out from the back very rarely, in my view, leads to anything constructive. We are better off doing what Liverpool did under Klopp, because we seem quite good at it, and that is an aggressive press, suffocate teams, win the ball, then quickly go forward, because we seem quite good at that. So I don't think playing out from the back suits us, especially when half the players don't move into position for the fullbacks or the goalie. How many times have you seen Vicario misplace a ball out from the back? That's because the player he's looking for hasn't moved. So Vicario should just hit it long, but instead our players are scared to go long when the movement isn't there. I think a lot of it comes down to not having a proper 6 that moves and receives the ball on the half turn in the D outside the box. And the fullbacks are too high up when the centre back gets the ball. I've seen it time and time again. We did a whole demonstration of this as to how we conceded against Crystal Palace. The fullbacks and the 6 didn't move for him. I think that causes a problem as well.
I don't think the fullbacks were doing it yesterday, Stel. There's so many times where you saw Udogie collecting the ball just in front of Davis in the midfield rather than being high up. And I think that's what changed yesterday. Porro hasn't been doing it for a while. Porro hasn't been high up as much, but Udogie started doing it as well, where he was coming back. So rather than being up there next to Werner or whoever it is, he was receiving it in midfield, and that gave an extra player there to actually for that pass that we've been missing because the 6 isn't working. And I agree with you that I've said to you a million times over the last year, we are so static in midfield when we play out from the back. It's like a game of Sabutio. It's literally like they're just standing there and someone's twiddling the little knobs and they're going around in a circle.
And that's why Basuma don't work though, Lee. Because he's jogging around. He's not running and making space and then quickly turning and distributing the ball. It's too slow.
His movement from playing out from the back is awful. The only 2 players I've seen do really, really well when they drop into that, let's call it the 6, when they drop into that role is Bentancur and Maddison. They're the only 2 that I've seen actually do it the way it's supposed to.
But they're the most comfortable to receive the ball facing their goal.
You see, I still got a lot of faith in Bentancur, but I do agree with that he's been up and down. But I think it's more the whole team has been up and down. So he's sort of followed that wave, that pattern. But when Bentancur is playing well, I think his quality does shine through, and he's press resistant, and he can make space and distribute the ball and do well. But
See, I have got some negatives, Mavs, and he's one of them yesterday.
Well,
and I'll tell you why. Not because of his football, because at one point he almost lost his head.
Yes.
If he had stayed on for 10 more minutes, I think he was off.
So I was So that inconsistency I was talking about, you can see that during games though as well, where he goes in waves. Where 10 minutes he looks bloody brilliant, and the next 10 minutes it's like his concentration just goes, and he's running or losing his head.
He gets frustrated very easy.
Really easy. You're right.
Are you guys not surprised a little bit? Like players like Jed Spence can't get like even a run out, like to give Porro a breather every now and again. I know, like we've played Archie Gray in Europe.
He's been injured for a month.
Isn't he injured at the minute?
He's been injured, Iggy.
No, I'm not saying when he's like now that he's injured. I'm talking about just generally.
Spence can't defend. Spence can't defend.
The thing is, he was getting 10 minutes, and he was starting to get into the games more, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was getting a little bit more time towards the end and stuff. But I mean, still not having him in that European squad seems strange to me.
I do agree with Saba though. Yeah, I do agree with Saba though. Like Romero, for me, I think that this season he's not been very good at all, and I would say he's one of the main reasons why we've lost points this season. He's just made too many rudimentary mistakes that you don't expect from a defender like him. He has been with us now for 3 seasons, and whilst there's been periods where he looked Rolls Royce, there's been more periods where he's just been out of form, and I'm with Saba on this. I think his time at the club should come to an end, to be honest with you. We should cash in and bring someone else in.
The other call, you guys said Sarr played brilliantly, and in the end, there was the right call. Obviously, after the game, we can analyse and say putting Sarr in there was ultimately the right call. But I was surprised a little bit. I was saying it earlier on. I was surprised a little bit that he got the nod ahead of Maddison.
I'm not.
No,
I don't think it works.
That was going to be my next one. How do we move forward? How do we get Maddison back in this team? Because, listen, for me, I don't think Maddison's been playing necessarily badly, and I still think he's a quality player that provides moments of magic in our team, and that's the number 10 that we wanted, surely.
It gives you an option now, doesn't it? Because you've got see, I don't think Kulu and Maddison work. They're too much of a number 10 positions, and then having only one midfielder at the back. I don't think that works in midfield. I think the way that it was set up yesterday was pretty perfect. I think having Bentancur sort of more of a number 6 and then Sarr running around like a headless chicken, absolute man of the match for me yesterday. And then having a number 10 in front of them is more dynamic than having the 2 number 10s that are almost like we were saying before, where they're sort of stepping on each other's toes. But now you've got the conundrum, because I'm with you. I don't think Maddison's necessarily done that bad. And Kulu's doing really well. And Kulu's an engine as well. He presses from the front.
Kulu in this team. I see Kulu play more like an 8. Like for me, like a proper like number 8, where he gets on that ball, he drives. Through. He's not playing. Maddis for me is more of a number 10 than probably Kulu is, in my opinion. I see Kulu in this team as a real 8, where he will pick up the ball and he's always trying to make. I don't want to use the word Gascoigne and stuff like that. No. But I'm saying like the intent. No, I'm not saying it. But what I'm trying to say, guys, is the intent that he has whenever he's on the ball to drive our attacks, to make something happen. That's what I mean. The intent
for that little clever pass.
The intent that he had in his game is to really hurt. I wasn't comparing it to Gascoigne. I'm not doing that.
We've got to be one of the only clubs in the country that buy a number 10, an out number 10. Try and shoehorn him into defensive midfield, number 8, whatever. Try and then judge him on all the things that is not why we bought him. Still, and then we've got a formation which doesn't really have an out 10. I mean, Kulu's not playing out 10, is he? Kulu's drifting out. So it's kind of like the formation doesn't suit Maddison, but Maddison's numbers are still good. You know, Madison's.
I like that. Yeah, I think he's playing well.
You're
I
going to
don't
look
think
at
he's playing...
creativity. His numbers are better than Kulu's, but Kulu's more of an engine. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a world in which Madison can float from the left, or whether they can both play. I just know that against better teams, and this is where I will give Ange credit. Yesterday, he got it right. Against the better teams, you can't play two attacking midfielders. You know, it's going to work against some teams. I think you'll get away with it against Ipswich. I don't think you're going to get away with it against Aston Villa with McGinn, Onana, and Tielemans in there. So he's got a conundrum there, but it's good. It's a nice problem.
Good decision. Yeah. Good problem to have. Yeah, I agree.
But I just think the hate that Madison's getting week in, week out, he's putting up numbers. I don't know, you know, for a bloke that's not ever getting 90 minutes and being on the bench a lot, he's putting up decent numbers compared to the rest of the players. And my McDonald's is here.
Me.
More importantly, I hope you got me a Big Mac.
Go get that. What do you think of Son's performance yesterday? And particularly, I just want to have a chat about obviously when he got subbed. So
I think we're witnessing one of our best players in the last 10 years on really on the decline, if I'm honest with you. He's done good.
New guy's coming in January. He's only got to last till then.
Look, he's still gonna do. He's still gonna show quality in games. He's still gonna, you know, I saw on the social media on Spurs Instagram or whatever it was, where he'd done a bit of skill and beat a couple of players. And that I didn't notice it in the game, but it looked good. And he's going to put in a good cross and he's going to get a goal. I think he will still do that, and I think he'll probably. I know Ian and Stel have got a bet on, but he'll probably be our top goal scorer or up there as one of our best. However, there's no denying for me that he's definitely on the decline, big time.
For me, he's got to play up top. I don't understand why he can't finish in his last 3-4 years, however long he's got left at Spurs. Why he can't be deadly playing up front? Either we play with two up front and play him alongside Solanke, or alternate them in that forward position. Because for me, he is still a deadly finisher, man. And that ball he put you in it was right on the money yesterday. And he has that in his locker. So why are we putting him out on the wing, man, when he should be playing closest to goal?
You know what? Son needs to adapt his game and fast, because one thing I think Son's been not very good at in the last 3-4 years is when you ask him to do something different to his natural position and play, he doesn't look very good. And he I can see it happening again with him, where when we're asking him to do different things, or when we're asking him to maybe hold up the ball or be that front man, he's just not adapting. Whereas he needs to adapt, because that's what all of especially the great players like the Ronaldo adapted his game as he got older. Even Bale adapted his game as he got older. Sheringham certainly adapted his game as he got older. You know, I mean, he was never the fastest, but you know, he had a really good brain on him.
Maz, for me, he can't play as a number 9 on his own. For me, he can play though as a shoulder to the striker, so it allows him to have the freedom of movements to the channels.
But he needs more than that, Iggy. But I think now he needs more than just that, though. He needs to add something else in his game. Whereas, look at Kane, right? When he burst on the scene with us, he had power. I mean, he was never the fastest, but, you know, he was able to beat a man. He had, you know, he was shooting from all over the place. Then as he's got older, and I think Jose encouraged him to do this, he started dropping more into midfield, pinging balls around, being more of a playmaker, right? And you know, in that number 10 type role. And he adapted, right? And he still was brilliant in every position he played. But I don't think Son has actually done that. That's just my opinion.
Son's best position was exactly that, Maz. When Kane dropped and became the playmaker, Son on the shoulder of the last defender was beating him every time with Kane's precision passing. He was beating him every time, and he was clinical. That's the problem. I said yesterday at half time, I'd said to the wife, he needs to come off. I know he's just come back from injury, but every time he tries to take on a man, he's either running into him or he can't take him on, etc.
Did your wife agree with you?
Yes, she did. Yeah. But then when he came out in the second half, that's that one moment of magic that you need from him, right? That crossing on the coin, bang, and then it goes. That for me, Lee giving him another 10 minutes or whatever it was, you know, he brought something.
It was a
out in the
quality.
second
It was
half.
a quality cross,
Good.
no doubt.
So
Ian, you were there. What's your thoughts?
For me, the difference is with Sonny. His finishing is still superb. But he's lost a yard of pace, hasn't he? You think about the goal he got against Burnley. I know that's an extreme example, but he's picked the ball up on the edge of his box and he's just moved. And that power of acceleration away from players, it's different to a Werner type burst where Werner's just pure pace. Sonny's like 5 yard bang, and he hasn't got that. He's not beating players like he used to. His finishing is terrific, and if he can adapt his game, so that the chances fall to him in and around the area, just inside the box, we'll get the most out of him. He can't hold the ball up, so he's not your target man, number 9, and we don't need him for that. We've got Solanke now. And I think that's where Sonny's got to adapt. You're not going to, how can I put it? I might be talking against myself. On the odd occasion, like he got against West Ham, when the ball was played in, but that wasn't pure pace. That was just carrying the ball and then turning the guy inside out before he scored our third goal against West Ham was it third goal or fourth goal the other week? But I think that's where the difference is. He's lost that burst, that pure acceleration. He's still our best finisher.
And I think that's one of the key things, isn't it? You go, he's still probably pound for pound one of our best finishers that we've got there. Still, obviously, you were at the game and you're probably closer to that side than me. After he got subbed, like there was talk about him throwing a bit of a strop when he went back to the bench. Did you notice any of that or see any of that?
I'll be honest, I didn't see any of it because I was chatting to the guy behind me and trying to understand what we were doing with these substitutions because we came out the blocks firing, Son sets up the goal. And I'm like, why are you taking him off? We're guns are blazing. So I didn't really see what happened with Son, but he's not the Sonny of old, is he? You remember that goal at Wembley against Chelsea where he picked up the ball, went down the wing, beat 3 players and scored. Picked up the ball against Burnley at home, ran past 5 players and scored. Arsenal during COVID at home, picked up the ball, cut inside, hit a 35-yard top bins. He's not that player no more. He's not that. He's not that guy. He's now just. He can still beat a man and put a cross in. You saw it on the weekend, but.
Do you think he should be playing as a forward, though, like as more centrally for in front of goal? Because he's still got he's deadly in front of goals.
Iggy, until we replace him, what do? We sign Odebert, who's injured every week. We signed Werner, who is.
No, I agree. We haven't got.
I'm not even going to talk about Werner. You know how I feel.
Forget Werner.
So what's the option? Mikey Moore. He's 17. He's a kid. He needs time.
No, I agree. We've got the options in the middle. Got to came out wide.
The only other option the only other option for that position.
Ange isn't going to change the tactics and play 2 up top, which I think he should.
No.
Ange ain't going to do that because this current formation and tactics is going to win the league, so we can't change it.
The only other option, possibly, Maddison used to play on the left up front for Leicester. You could play Maddison there.
Can't help himself.
The thing is, we could, but I think Maddison's best position is a proper 10. Like, I wouldn't want Maddison out wide because what our wide players do and what we ask of our forward wide players is different to other teams that play in that position. I don't think Maddison's that player. I think Maddison unlocks doors. I don't think he's someone that's going to go charging down the wing when the space opens up and put in really good crosses, or someone that's going to invert and then try and release
No,
the
no,
forward. I
No, but-
don't think that, but that's what this system requires. So I don't think it works with Maddison, and that's why when Maddison came on, he moved Kulu into that position instead.
In regards to Son, guys, and a substitution,
There's no other option for Sonigi. We didn't sign anyone.
no. I agree. Listen, I hear you,
yes,
man.
but
Well,
he's
Odebert.
We haven't got
cooking.
at the moment in the wide areas. We haven't got a lot of options. So I agree. Until we up the options there, Son has to carry on. But moving forwards, I wouldn't mind alternating because we have plenty of Europe, domestic cup. We've got league. I wouldn't mind alternating every now and again. Even Solanke is going to have to have a breather. And Richarlison's fitness at the moment is not giving us any kind of guarantees.
Richarlison's injured again. Did his hamstring?
Well, yeah, he as he went to the sprint just before.
Yeah,
Just as he's put the cross in, his hammy went. So you can see as he's crossed the ball, his hammy had already gone. So he did that pass as the last sort of thing. But in regards to Son,
we've got no Richarlison. So how the only change you can make is tactical formation, but Ange will never do that.
No, it doesn't. He wants to pursue that one there, and that's why Son will persist on.
You know the biggest worry. The biggest worry that's starting to come through because you see trends starting. And this hamstring issue again is happening at this club.
But he's just come back from injury. But in regards to what I was going to say real quick.
So are they not dealing with his recovery in his rehab in the correct way? Odebert's hamstring, done it again. What is going on with the medical team?
Ian, it's not the medical team. It's the way we
Richarlison actually had longer, didn't he? Because they kept him back a little bit and said, it's...
Yeah, they were being very cautious in throwing him in. He was giving him 15, 20 minutes.
It's the way we play. We're the number one team at pressing in the league. We're the number one team at allowing the opposition to have the fewest amount of passes before we intercept it. You saw Solanke for one of the goals where he sprinted like a maniac. Right, the way we play, that's going to happen.
I don't think we have those players. Listen, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm a bit out there with saying this, but it's like the players' characteristics don't suit. Like, it's not Richarlison's. I don't know, man. Because at the end of the day, that was on the attack. He went on a run on the wide area, and he pulled his hamstring as he's about to play that ball. He'd already pulled it, so he did that pass as the last thing because of the hamstring is already pulled up.
Van der Ven did Richarlison did it sprinting. It's the way we play. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, right?
He can't play left back, man. He can't play left back for our team.
Pochettino sort of recognised this, and he changed us, didn't he, from this really manic, relentless pressing side, and he adapted it. Whereas we weren't, we're a bit more clever in the way we pressed, and he realised that if he carried on with that high pressing style, that the players didn't have enough near the end of the season to sort of finish the race. And I think that will happen, assuming that we carry on and we start picking up points and form is good. I think we're going to really fade come the crunch points in the season. A bit like exactly what happened last year, because the players just get knackered or they get injured.
Only if we had maybe if we bring in a couple of players, however way loan or whatever.
Yeah, but Ange just allowed to identify quality in
January.
So.
And we got that the Japanese players. It's a Japanese South Korean player coming in January. But look, in Sonny's case, man,
it's another kid. It's another kid. It's another Archie Gray.
Ange doesn't know a quality player, there, does he?
I don't know. Look, in Sonny's case, Ange said after the game that he was never going to give more than 55, 60 minutes on Sonny's return. So I don't know if it was for me that kind of conversation he would have had with Son. He would have told him that he's playing 55, 60 minutes. Maybe because Son was playing really well and he had just put that ball in, it felt like it wasn't the moment to go off. But
do you know?
I don't know. Players want to play all the time, don't they?
Have you noticed he doesn't really get hamstring injuries? Right, and
Poro
at the club. Well, I'm saying Pape Sarr because he's up and down. Right, he's actually very unique at the club. He's got the best engine bar anyone. His engine is number one at Spurs, and if you look at his build, he's quite slim. There's not a lot of muscle on him, so I think
he's
his
so
physique.
lanky.
Oh, that is awful. That is absolutely
I had to get it
shocking.
in.
Oh my God, he's so lanky.
His
Liam.
burger's gone down
Fucking
the
hell.
wrong way. Yeah, is that Cambona? No, but you're right. You're right. I think still that's what I was saying about Richarlison. I don't know if the way we're playing it suits some players physically. I'm talking about physical attributes, and it doesn't others. And Maddison is also, if you think about it, the level of running he has to do in the midfield, he's a 10, man. He's not that player to do. So I don't know, man. I don't know how.
Listen, the older players really
struggle with this.
will most probably suffer more. The younger players should be more agile and flexible for this. But then again, Odebert, he's young and he's done it, you know.
But if you think about just talking about going back to Maddison, if you think about where Maddison has been quite effective with those reverse balls in to Sonny on the left at Burnley last season, on the left at the Emirates last season. For me, if you push Sonny slightly in, for me, you could play Maddison left.
For me, Maddison can play on the left, but he would need the left back to play on the outside all the time. So as he cuts in,
of course.
we got the flank left to the.
Ian, what you're describing is a number 10 drifting into a different position with those goals Maddison created at Arsenal. If you look at the way our wide players play, look at Johnson and Werner, the way they play. That's not Maddison.
No,
I don't think you can play him on the left.
Listen,
they play completely differently.
He's got to find tweak it a bit. Still, he's got to find a different way of playing as well, because you can't keep playing the same 13 players all season. And with this high press and intensity, you're going to end up with God knows how many players.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
The medical run. So he's got to vary it a bit. You've got to play a lower block. People like Dragusin will be better and Davis will be better in that low block. You'll also bring teams onto you and create space behind, i.e. the first goal against Man City last week. And, he's just got to be a bit cuter. You just can't keep playing the same way the whole time.
Well,
he's got to adapt exactly the way Poch did. Right? What worries me about Ange, and personally, I don't think he's going to survive that long to have the opportunity.
That's a Leicester fan. Wayne Holland's a Leicester fan.
But Poch had adapted his styles as he went through those 5-6 years, right? And adapted the way we play. From what I've seen of Ange, he's got no intention of changing anything, because that is his MO.
Well, can I come in on this one, because I know quite a bit about the Poch era?
Yeah,
is that he wanted the rebuild. You can only play players with a high intensity and high press for so many years, and then they sort of just burn out because the body's just not set up for that. And he needed the rebuild, and that's where it all fell down and started going backwards for Spurs. And the league results just got worse and worse. In the last 9 months, he hardly won a game because he needed younger kids in. The squad was growing older, 3 or 4 years, 5 years down the line, and players just were not pressing with the same speed and intensity, and they were getting older. So I can see Angie's looking for younger players who are fit, who are fresher, who can carry out these instructions. But I mean,
the thing, though, Ian, when Poch assembled that squad, we were I think at one point the youngest team in the league, and then obviously, as you said, they aged and they changed. The same thing will happen with Ange, right?
Yeah.
If he stays that long. But Levy's still going to do Levy things, and he won't back him. Why is he going to give him the rebuild when he's going to say to him, "Hold on a minute, I've given you 400 million in your first 2 seasons. Why am I going to give you another 200-300 million to rebuild it again?" That is Levy. That is Daniel Levy. He will do that. That's just see what I mean. And so,
he has to make good with what he's got.
Maz, every manager, unfortunately, has one hand tied behind their back with his owners. And that's just the situation. And until we get new owners, nothing will change. You know, I think we all desperately want Ange to do well. We all desperately want to see a trophy.
Well, I think the first thing we need to see, without getting ahead of ourselves, right? The first thing we need to see is Ange having more than one formation and more than one way of playing. And I think this Aston Villa game showed us that he obviously can tweak things.
Yes.
But why isn't he? That performance was excellent. But why can't we carry that performance into our away results, fixtures, and getting the results? So that's what's worrying me.
Well, I also think now, Maz, the fact he's got two holding midfield players rather than one has given us a better balance at home. It's going to give us an even better balance away from home. Because we're under the cosh more, aren't we?
Mm.
So I just think, you know, that's a tweak. Fullbacks going outside rather than inverted. As I said the other night, you know, I was talking with David Pleaton about Maddison, and he said, you know, he's playing inverted fullbacks, forcing Maddison back. So you're taking Maddison out of those danger areas where his reverse passes can make the difference. So that if he stops inverting and he goes back to more of a back four, a regular orthodox back four, then, you know, he starts setting us up. For me, I said after Wednesday night, that was the first game in about 50 odd games since Ange joined, that he actually set the team up in a proper, mature way. You know, because it's been chaos up to then.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The thing is, the next big tests are going to away from home is going to be Galatasaray now, because we've got Ipswich at home, and so the next we'll find against Galatasaray. You see that one there is going to be a hard one because it's already a tough ground to go. We know that already for any team, but it's even harder because we don't know what 11 we're going to field in that match.
He's going to mix and match, Iggy.
Yeah, that's hard to predict a performance and a result when you're mixing and matching. Although we're doing well in Europe.
Well, he hasn't got a choice about the defenders, Iggy.
Yeah. Defenders is going to have to play where he has to play. But, you know, if you start then including in already a makeshift defence, you start including, you know, dropping Archie Gray for Porro. And that, for me, weakens the defence. And then you start making changes in midfield. And once you start making changes, it's hard to put any continuity, which is what this whole stream's about. Is that how do you put consistency in place when you're chopping and changing?
Iggy, I think for the group stages, I think, you know, Ange must be very aware that the style of play can create injuries. I mean, look how many hamstring injuries we had last season, and it's now building up again this year. So I think I would be mix and matching. You can't run these players into the grounds. You know, you've got to give Udogie a rest on Thursday night as well. You just can't keep playing them. You know, we've won 3 out of 3. If we lose on Thursday, it's not the end of the world.
Really, what my point is, is the consistency.
In terms of qualifying, you know, you've got to actually take a long-term view, because we could be playing close on 60 matches this season.
Yeah, but Ian, I thought when we looked into this, I think we've won 3, but I think to be guaranteed to get through, I think you've got to win probably 6 out of 8 to guarantee yourself. Now, I think we've played the dross. I think Galatasaray is our first real challenge.
I think that's the hardest game, Lee.
No, I think we've got harder than them.
Oh, I don't. I think Rome. Listen, we're building a fortress at home.
Rangers, right?
Rangers. Liverpool scored 7 against.
Yeah, we got Rangers. Sorry, that's the one I'm missing.
But the thing is, in Europe, we play like a B team, and they haven't been impressive at all. And what's gone our way is the teams we've played against don't have anyone up top or wingers that can finish. We played against teams that are terrible in the final third. Roma aren't rubbish in the final third. They're not. Galatasaray have got Osimhen. That's no joke. So we're now going to start playing. There's a team in Germany we're playing as well. They're not too bad up top. Rangers are shit. Rangers I'm not worried about. But
we'll beat Rangers. We'll beat Elfsborg. And for me, I think we'll beat Roma at home. I do think he'll play a strong team against Roma.
Not if we play our B team. And
No, I think he'll play a strong team.
On the basis that we'll play our strongest team, then now, yeah,
I think we'll beat Roma. I don't think Roma are particularly special. They're a second-tier club in Italy,
but nor is our B team. Our B team's not special, Ian. Our B team's proven. They were lucky against Coventry, against Karabag. How many chances did we give? Ferencváros, we were almost falling apart at one point. Our B team has not impressed me at all this season. Roma and Galatasaray are capable of converting chances, where the other teams they haven't been.
But still, you've got to spread time. You got to give players minutes across the squad.
I'm not trying to suggest not to play the B team. I'm trying to
challenge
your thinking that we are going to beat teams, and I'm saying with our B team that is not a given by a long way. It's not. Our B team gives away a lot of chances. We've been seeing it all season.
We're in that position where we have to literally play that A team, as it were, all the time now, right?
But we can't,
again,
can we?
Shot ourselves in the foot again. No, I know. And that was the whole point of saying at the start of the window, you know exactly what games are coming up. You know the volume of games that we're going to hit before Christmas.
And he's got to stay there or thereabouts in the league. You know, if the coefficient stays as it is, 5th place gets you into the Champions League next season. So he cannot let the league form drop off.
But I thought now we're moving the goalposts as to what we need to achieve. 5th place. I thought we're winning trophies and stuff and challenging for titles. Now we're talking about 5th place. I don't get it.
Listen, obviously I prefer a trophy. For me, I want the Europa League. But if that doesn't happen, in order to get the Champions League, you've got to be there or thereabouts, and you got to. I don't think I've said all along, don't see us qualifying top 4 at all. Don't think we're good enough. I've said all along, between 5th and 8th, if we get 5th and it gives you Champions League, it's the second best thing after a trophy.
Our B team has not come up against one team that has been clinical in front of goal. Coventry were missing sitter after sitter after sitter. Karabag were abysmal in front of goal, missing sitters. They skied a penalty into the top tier of the North Stand. Ferencváros were woeful in front of goal. And AZ Alkmaar, 5 minutes into the game, lost their best forward. He went off injured. And the only reason we scored against them was from a penalty, not open play. We are not good with the B team. And the only reason we've won games is because the opposition have been abysmal in the final third. Galatasaray and Roma are not abysmal in the final third.
But still, he's been making 8 and 9 changes, hasn't he, for these games?
That's why it's called the B team. Yeah.
No, that's right. No, but if he mixed some matches for Galatasaray, and I mean like 4 or 5 changes only,
he can't because we've got too many injuries now. He needs to reserve them for the Premier League. He can't do that.
Can I just say one of the key reasons? Sorry, I just ate so much. I am so fat.
What did you eat, Sava?
Oh, loads. Look how long I was gone. I just ate loads.
I don't want to hear loads. I want to know exactly what you ate.
All right, I got one of those
caramel McFlurry.
I got a bundle deal. I got a Big Mac, a McChicken sandwich, 2 lots of chips, 6 nuggets, and I'm eating a chocolate cookie as we speak. And I've got a chocolate milkshake.
You fat bastard.
You are shocking.
Anyway, do you know one of the main reasons?
Love the diet.
If I die tonight, just someone take my channel over. If one of the key things why I'm always saying I need to be convinced by Ange, and I need to be convinced when people are going on about the project. I hate that word, but this project and is everything working and we're great, blah blah blah. I always think it's November. Right? It is only November. So all of your points, I've been listening to everything while I've been eating. All of your points. This style of football, as you get to February, legs are going to go. It's natural. As you get to February, legs are going to go. Injuries are going to creep in. Fatigue is going to creep in. Suspensions are going to creep in. For me, I want to see what can this team do, like when we're having to go away in Europe in the knockout stages, and we've got injuries, we've got fatigue, then we're going to see how good we actually are. That's why I'm always saying to people, please keep your feet on the ground, right? Because at the moment, how many years we see this under Poch? Poch's team blew everyone away. We'd always get to about February. We'd just start dropping off, wouldn't we? That intensity. Couple of draws would slip in. A couple of defeats that we shouldn't get would slip in. It's going to be exactly the same with this style of football under Ange. And already after 10 games, you're seeing Van der Ven's hamstrings are gone. Right? Richarlison keeps going. Not that he's a big loss. Richarlison's going. As Stel said, Odegaard as well. For me, that's why I think at the moment when people want to talk about is it working, are we getting better, are there improvements? I watched your whole show last night, obviously with the Ian and Stel debate about is it getting better, what's getting better. For me, I don't think we'll know. This time last year we were 10 points better off. Everyone was telling me that I'm not a real fan because I wouldn't jump on this train to the league trophy parade. So look, I think it's gonna start to hit him. To get back to the original point, I think when we start seeing him actually have to balance out games like Galatasaray, like when we go away in Europe, I think then we're going to start to see just how good these players, these kids, this B team are. But we'll see.
So what team would you play Thursday, Sav?
I'll be honest, I would go either all kids or put out all the first team. I would be tempted to play as many kids as possible. I think that you can, at this stage, I'm not condoning losing, but I think we can afford to not win this game. And I think you're right. I think the league form is, I just talked about this on my other show. Fulham have equalised with 4.5 minutes to go. I've just talked about this on my other show, right? When we keep, lots of fans keep saying stuff like, oh, Iggy being one of them, by the way, yesterday. I wouldn't mind if we finished 17th.
Yeah,
we could finish 12th and win a trophy. I hate to tell you this.
Hercules.
You know the one person that matters that does really give a shit about whether or not we finish 17th and win a trophy?
It's chairman.
Is Mr. Daniel Levy. All of this, as fans, we're comfortable. We just want a trophy. We can finish 12th. Daniel Levy don't think like that. So I'll make you right, Ian, on that bit. Let's see. Let's see. I don't know. I think these Europa games are showing me that we didn't sign very well in the summer. We've got away with it so far because we've played no one of note. Right? Let's see what happens when the knockout stages come and you have to go to Lyon away, Lazio away, Athletic Bilbao away, because the home form isn't going to see you through. Yeah? What separates the chaff from the wheat, right, is the away form. Teams with good away form win things.
And the thing is, Sava, is even against Ipswich, they're not very good. But I don't even know if we're going to win. I don't know what Tottenham's going to turn up.
We will. We'll battle them 5-0.
Fine. Yeah, the balance of probability, yeah, we will win. But you just never know what Tottenham is going to turn up. You sort of, when you watch Spurs, like something that happened that was a little bit different, right, is you watch Spurs and if we're not on it in the first 20 minutes, you sort of know how the rest of the game's going to go. Whereas with yesterday, what was weird is I didn't expect us to come out in the second half the way we did and then have such a good performance in the second half. I sort of thought that, yeah, we might have a period of 10, 15 minutes where we're really trying, but ultimately, if Aston Villa got their tactics right, we would have, fallen short. So I'm not confident as to what Tottenham's going to turn up week by week, and that's where Ange, I think, really needs to, like as you said,
Maz, come on, at home, you know we're going to be all right at home. I think there's enough to say we're going to.
Yeah, but the history of the Tottenham tells us that whenever we're on that precipice of moving on, we just throw a wobbly.
The wobbly will be Man City away coming up, Chelsea away coming up. Those games, they'll be.
I'll let you have Ipswich, but the rest.
Cheeky,
I'm not so sure.
Listen, Ipswich are 17th in the league. They're stubborn, but we'll clobber them. It's when we got to go to.
Have you seen our away games?
Do you know where we'll wobble? When we go to a Southampton away, something weird happens.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Our away games coming up, right? This is gonna tell us everything we need to know. Listen, I'm not expecting anything at Man City. I'll let that pass. This is Man City. Even though a Man City fan just called in my show, guys. Man City fan called in my show complaining about Pep Guardiola, Man City's transfer window. He said, I've been telling everyone for 3 years how shit our back four is. I was like, mate, you wouldn't last 1 week. What are we doing here? Tottenham's away games after Man City, right, are Bournemouth, Southampton,
dodgy,
Forest,
tricky,
and Arsenal. Right?
Yeah,
Those 4 away games will show
the
me,
wobblers.
are we Champions League contenders or are we Europa League contenders? Because you've got to be going away to Southampton, to Bournemouth. Like, I know Bournemouth have just won 2 good home games, but you know, you've really got to
Bournemouth
be
are decent. Bournemouth are decent.
I know they're decent, but at some point, still, that away form has got to turn. Listen, I completely disagree with Lubo last night, giving it all the ifs, buts, and maybes as to why we didn't do well on the road. But the facts are, we lost. We lose a lot of away games. Until we sort that out, we're going to be an also-ran. So let's see what we do in those away games. The Ipswich game isn't a marker. I don't need the Ipswich. We'll win the Ipswich game 4 or 5-0 and everyone will be salivating, right? That's not the marker of where we are.
Do you know, away from home, we're 14th in the league table in terms of results. But even more frightening is, against the big clubs, we're bottom under Ange. We're literally 3 wins against the big 6 away from home. Man United was one of them, by the way.
More concerning than defeats are
Was
the
that
manner
in
the
2024?
manner of the defeats
2024, yeah.
is what's more. But we don't seem, for me, you know, that away that Brighton second half. Okay, first half we was good. Second half we just completely. And you think, that game was a freak. Maybe all right, we need to let it go. But then we followed it up with a Palace defeat, without even turning up. For me, it's like, you know, you can lose the game and you're thinking, but we turned up, we fought, all right, we lost it to a silly mistake or it was a narrow defeat. You can almost make it, but we've not had the story to tell that since that second half of that Brighton, the whole game against Crystal Palace. I think we need to have a game where we really put in a really good performance, put in a good shift, and say, right, if we do that, we at least give ourselves half a chance of getting a decent result. But that's the part. Is that I don't know if it's a mindset thing. I don't know if because to get it completely wrong for 90 minutes, man, it's like that's a mindset where you haven't really turned up to the game. You can get, you know, you can have a spell 10, 15 minutes. Like Aston Villa, 10, 15 minutes, they got absolutely clobbered. They got it completely and utterly wrong. And if it's a 10-minute spell, if we got it wrong in that 10 minutes, this is like, we need to be right from the off, away from home, have a game where, I'm not talking about Ipswich, I know what Ipswich at home, but even the Galatasaray. Now, again, we have to start separating the European games, because until we start seeing the first team playing there and we start making all these changes, it's hard to really put
But Iggy, can I? It's things like if you
Fulham just won it. Fulham
that's why I celebrated. I had them in my ACCA to win 490 quid, and they've turned it around in stoppage time.
Yes.
I
went 2-1 as well.
I'm going to order McDonald's for everyone. Like, see the comment in the chat right there.
Cost you about 500 quid, Sav.
Yeah, I know. Right, Jordan in the chat. This is what you get from Spurs fans. And big up Jordan. He's a really nice lad. He's always respectful. I said, we'll sort out the way for him. It's easily fixable. Spurs fans come out with these throwaway quotes. We've won 4 of 19 away games. 4 of 19. But don't worry, it's easily fixable.
Hang on. Sav, let me throw some context on that.
Oh,
hang on. Let me throw some context.
There's no evidence to back what Jordan said. None.
Still,
It's a hope, isn't it?
We're all looking for improvements in points, in results, because that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate. Okay, if you are getting battered week in, week out, away from home, you are miles away. If you're going to those same teams the following season and you're missing out because you're not clinical and you've had far more possession. You've had 20 shots like we had against Newcastle, and they had 3. And we come away, hang on, and we come away losing. Then you can say the result is exactly the same. Makes no difference at the end of the day. But we're not getting battered like we have been the last 2 years. And you can see an improvement. So to get to where you got
Ian,
to get
come
to,
on. Ian, but this isn't factual. This is facts versus feelings.
No,
when you're
it's
saying
not feelings. Look at the stats.
Ian, you just said
Brighton
listen,
battered
my
us.
name's not Stell.
I know it's not. Sorry, I'm used to having to chat with him.
Someone came up to me
Because
on
we're
match
both
day.
Greek. I mean, this is racism at this point, isn't it? Oh, you're all
Sava.
Greek. You're all called Stelios. Right.
Sava, someone came up to me. Sorry, someone came up to me on match day on the weekend at half time. I was walking. I think I was going to the toilet or whatever. This guy's walked past me. He's like, "Oh, mate, you're right." Shook my hand. He goes, "Sava, innit?" I went to him. I know Sava. He goes, "Oh yeah, you know Sava." I'm like,
if you had been Sava, he would have stabbed you probably. But Ian, listen, sorry. Back to the serious nature of the football. It's feelings, though. When you're saying, "Oh, you can see the improvement," we were awful against Leicester in the second half. We were dreadful. Like we compete. We were, Ian.
20 minutes. 20 minutes. So,
Ian,
20 minutes.
Leicester came
Benson
out.
caused injury saved
Hang on,
us.
hang on, let me
Benson
finish.
caused injury
Ian, let me
saved us.
finish.
We'll
Leicester came out second half and were all over us. Fatawu tore Adogi a new one. Jamie Vardy had chances galore to win that game.
One chance.
Hang on. Hang on. We then played Newcastle, right? And if we're going to go by having possession, sure, we were the better team. But again, Newcastle were so poor and won it without getting out of first gear. We then played Crystal Palace, Brighton. How can you say that the 4 points out of 15 away, but you can see improvement?
Well, I feel that we have thrown away.
So there hasn't been improvement.
Hang on. We have thrown away 2 points at Leicester. I think we threw it away. We should have buried that game by half time.
But we didn't.
Game should have done and dusted. The football we played, first 45 was superb, and we should have actually put that game to
Was it superb? I don't really remember that having anything to do.
Ian,
It was good football.
you're being disingenuous here. You're being disingenuous.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I'll tell you why. Because what you're doing is you're saying we should have won that game. We shouldn't have beaten Coventry. We shouldn't have beaten Ferencváros. So when we do win, when we don't deserve it, we pretend that never happened. But when you think we should have won,
No, still,
it,
I walked out of Coventry.
Okay. Let me put it this way. You say we're not getting battered away from home. We are crushing teams at White Hart Lane. We destroyed West Ham. We destroyed Villa. When we go away, the stark comparison is massive. So it's not a small thing we need to fix. There's a massive chasm between what you're seeing at home and away. Away from home, we are horrible to watch. The second half of Brighton was horrendous to watch. The whole game against Crystal Palace was horrible. These are horrible to watch. At home, there's a massive difference.
Hang on.
Make it sound like it's small. I don't think it is. I really don't.
We had one and a half away matches against United and Brighton where we played very well. And then we had the next 1.5 matches where we were the complete opposite.
A game's 90 minutes, not 45.
Correct.
We saw that against Aston Villa.
We finished up with 3 points out of 6.
Against Aston Villa for 45 minutes, we were shit. But the other 45 is what
We
counted.
weren't shit at all. No, we weren't shit. This is the only channel.
Aston Villa.
This is the only channel that's criticised Tottenham in their first half performance. Wasn't great.
Yeah,
but
Tottenham away.
You choose to come on this
It
channel.
was okay.
You choose to be here.
First half
What is
performance
this?
was okay.
This is what Iggy's turning into a happy clapper.
This is see. You
Do you
don't.
think Villa played particularly well?
You don't like the truth,
They're
so
a
you
good
go to dig at the channel. You don't like the
Hang
truth.
on. Can we go back to the original point? Can we go back to the away form, please? Can we go back to the away form?
Other channels don't have the balls to challenge what you've said. That's the difference.
Hang on. Ian,
No,
listen.
I'll say it.
At home,
Yeah.
Stell is right. The stark contrast between home and away. But I've never known it before, right? Where we make excuses for everything. We threw 2 points away. Did we throw 2 points away, or did Leicester deserve the point? For me, Leicester deserved the point.
For
Did
20
we-
minutes of football.
When you're saying
How can you
20
say they
minutes,
deserved it?
when you're saying 20 minutes, I thought the second half, they were better than us all over the pitch.
Go and
The
watch
second
the
half.
first 10 minutes of the second half. We should have buried them those first 10 minutes. The game
Okay,
should have been
Ian,
done and dusted.
You know the word in your vocabulary, though. Everything is should have. We didn't, right? If it's one game, right? If it's one game where we slip up, if you win 3 away games and then the fourth one, we let it drop, Brighton happens, you go, it's an anomaly, right? When it's Leicester, Brighton, Palace, there's one more, Leicester, Brighton, Palace, Newcastle. Surely, Ian, when it's 4 of the 5 games, you can't sit there and be genuine about, but but the signs of improvement are there. How? These teams beat us without playing well.
We had a discussion last night about why there's such a difference between home and away. And I said mentality. There were 5 reasons. We didn't finish teams off. The system we play away from home. There were 3. I'm trying to think what the other 2 were. But there were 5 reasons why there's such a difference between home form and away form. I think Ange has been poorer, much poorer. His performances in terms of team selection, which I was saying, I think before you came on, Sav, there's such a difference. His in-game management at home this season has been so much better than away from home. Away from home has been dreadful.
Ian,
I'm
right.
asking, has it? Has it?
Let me come in here, right? Because
Sorry, mate.
you can't say we should have done this, we should have done that. Then in the next breath say, yeah, but Ange's made the wrong decisions, away from home versus home, because those should have won't happen.
I'm blaming Ange. I'm saying it's a mix between the players and Ange.
Well, of course, it's always going to be a mix because obviously the players kick the football and the manager picks the tactics, right? So you can't look back and say we should have done this, we should have done that, unless you're deliberating refereeing decisions, as an example, right? We've got failings, and those failings keep repeating themselves, and they keep repeating themselves over multiple games. So you can't just pick certain games and say, "Oh, well, we should have beaten Newcastle because we never finished our dinner." Well, on the flip side, well, maybe we should have bought better players and better strikers, and maybe they would have converted the chances. Do you see what I mean, Ian? You can't.
Maz,
the shouldas don't work in that scenario because there's always a counter.
The funny thing is, Ian said that about this season. My original stat was 4 away wins in 19. So we're saying we should have won, we should have won this, should have won that. Can't we ever just say the truth? Home, we're very good. Away, we're shit. I don't know why we've got to pretend it's something that it isn't. We're not hard to play against away from home. Teams give us the ball. They know we don't finish them off. Brighton sat there and watched us for the first half, right? And then their manager made a couple of tweaks at half time and destroyed us. Right? That's not us throwing it. You could say we threw it away. You could also say Brighton won it. Brighton changed it. Their manager adapted. Crystal Palace was disgusting. That
was dreadful.
But
no question.
It keeps happening, Ian. How can we put it down to shoulda, woulda, couldas? If it keeps happening, surely that they're not anomalies. That's the way it is.
Guys, away from home is a mindset. It's a mindset. We got to stop giving stupid goals away. It cut out the silly individual errors because we make loads of them away from home. It's a mindset you know that a team for the first 10, 15 minutes of a game, especially at their home ground, they're going to come at you. Or if they're 1-0 down, whatever, or 2-0 down against the Brighton game, they're going to come at you for the first 15 minutes. So your game management has to be expect the onslaught 15 minutes, but keep things tight and not be so open.
Iggy, that's not.
Well, Conte, but Conte summarised it though. We don't want to play. We don't want to play under pressure. The players don't want to play under pressure. We're at home. The players are more comfortable. They're in their environment. The fans are there. Therefore, we play a bit freer. The manager can make a bit, more bold decisions. And this season he's got them right. But Savar and Stel and you said it earlier. What we need to see is the games against the Leons, the games against the better teams away, because the decisions that
bigger
he's
test will
making at
come.
home isn't going to be the same decisions he's going to make in those tough games away. And we've seen that.
What
Can
about
I
the crowd?
can I ask Ian a question when he goes on the other channels, if he dares to ask them this? Why is it when the league table, the evidence, the facts, the truth says we have lost the most amount of games out of all the top 10 teams, and they are all, except for one, away from home? Why can't we just say we're not good away from home? We have got problems.
We haven't been good away from home. It's clear. It's evident.
But Ian, what you're saying is it's narrow. It's it's fine margins. Whereas
I was going away. Still, I was going away.
If it's narrow, if it's narrow, one tweak and it's fixed. But this has been going on for the whole of Ange's tenure since the day he became manager. So if it's that narrow, why can't he make that little tweak and fix it? Because over 1 year on, we're still seeing it.
Okay, let me tell you the improvements. No, compared to last season.
No, I want to hear the fine tweaks that aren't being fixed, not the improvements.
Right.
Because it hasn't improved. The away form's still shit.
All right. The points haven't changed. But it's not just about a game of football. You can win a game and play shit, and you can be all over a team and lose a game. Life, it's not, these games are not black and white. We're not getting battered away from home like we were last season. We're not getting caught on the counter, apart from the Newcastle second goal, like we were last season.
We didn't get battered at Crystal Palace last season. Ian.
Hang on.
I don't know, but I don't understand what you're saying. It's
So forget Palace last year, first 10 games. Take them out.
You're the one bringing up last year how we're not getting.
No. Sam has mentioned the last 19 games, which go back a year. That goes back a year. That's commencing Wolves. That's starting with Wolves, which was after the Chelsea when we lost 4-1. So let's talk about Sam's mentioned 19.
When we had an injury crisis and suspension crisis.
Okay, but all right, but from Christmas on,
we've now got a full team by one or two players.
Hang on, but they were all back at Christmas. Mickey was back, Udogie was back,
and we signed a striker as well this time.
Yeah, so we're not the goals we were giving away from set pieces. We've only given away 2 goals, I think, in the last 19 games from these corners. That's all, 2. Gabriel and Saturday. That's it, Sunday. So there are improvements.
None of the away losses came from set pieces.
No. There are if you're getting schmeiced every single week, you've got a long way to go before you start turning it round. What I'm saying is that we're bridging that gap before we turn it round.
Who battered us last season away from home?
Oh, come on, Fulham.
No, don't say come on. I know. I'm asking you who.
Fulham, Brighton, Liverpool, Newcastle.
Yep.
The first half at City.
Okay.
I mean, Arsenal should have been 2 or 3.
You've just mentioned 4. You've just mentioned basically 4 of the big guns, right? So far this season away from home, Leicester City, newly promoted. If we're going to do your game, Ian, and compare, let's compare. Yeah. Leicester City was the equivalent of playing Burnley away last year. Hang on, let me finish, Ian, right? If you're comparing them game by game, which I think is silly. At the end of the day, you've been around football long enough to know everything you're saying is just white noise. The result is what matters. If you lose, you lose. If you lose 3-1 or 1-0, you've lost the game, right? It's comforting. That's what we're doing. We're comforting ourselves to say, oh, well, at least we didn't lose 3-0. We only lost 1-0. I don't care. We're losing the away games. Last year, the first promoted team we played was Burnley, right? We battered them. This year, the first promoted team we played was Leicester. We struggled to at work. We struggled in the end to a 1-1 draw. Let's be fair. We were all over them for a long time. And then Leicester came out, done a few tweaks, started getting chances, right? Then compare it. Crystal Palace. We won that game last year. We lost it this year. So far, that's 2 games where there isn't any improvement. It's much worse. Newcastle. All right, they battered us. This year, they didn't. But they still got 3 points. I don't understand how we can look at 4 defeats 4 wins in 19 away games. By the way, those 4 wins, right? One of them was a relegated Sheffield United, right? One of them was a relegation threatened Nottingham Forest. The really good one was Aston Villa. And one of them was Man United. It was so bad, they just sacked their manager. So 3 of our 4 away wins have been against a relegated team, a team who was in a relegation battle, a team that's just sacked their manager. The only good away win in 19 has been Aston Villa. And you got no offense, the cheek to sit there and go, but there's improvements away from home. But there isn't. There isn't improvements away from home.
I think there is in performance.
But
I think there is in performance.
What are we doing here, though? Like, are we a top flight Premier League football team or are we a top league team?
Sav, do you think you go from there right up to there like that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you expect. Yeah, but we're not. Ian, there hasn't been any gradual. But Ian, you've answered your own question. You said it needs to be gradual. There is no gradual increase. How? Where is it? Our away form is worse than West Ham's under Lopetegui. Our away form is the same as
the results. The results have been bad. The results have been
the same.
Our results have been rubbish.
I'm not talking about the results.
Serve the performances.
That's what you got to go on. You got to go. You
do against Newcastle.
You got to go on results, man.
What did we do against Newcastle? We had all the ball. Does anyone remember Nick Pope having to make a save?
Oh Christ, yes.
No, he didn't.
I must
Really?
say.
I remember him shot over the bar.
The only good away performance was Man United.
Agreed.
That was a good performance away from home, and it got the result. The rest
Ian
have been
counting
we played into
as a
Newcastle
performance. That's not right.
Odegaard missed a sitter with a header.
Our in-game management away from home hasn't been good enough.
Johnson shot over. He also put a lovely ball across the box. Where was Sonny? Should have put it in.
Newcastle got him behind us.
Good chances on that.
Newcastle got him behind us a few times and fluffed it as well, though.
They had 3 shots the whole game on target still,
and won the game.
Sorry, hitting the post. Sorry, hitting the post and blasting over the bar that you just described is not on target either. Then
let me get the stats.
Shots they had.
I've got the stats in front of me. What does the stats matter if you don't win the game?
It doesn't mean anything, but we're talking about a performance. We're not talking about a result, Sav. That's my point. But we are getting closer to turning the corner away from home.
So we're losing by less, is what you're saying?
No, the performances. Forget Palace. Brighton was 50.
Why do we forget the most recent game?
I'm talking about performances. I'm not talking about results.
Because that's a bad performance. We forget it.
We were crap in the first half against Newcastle.
I didn't say. I've said Palace was appalling. Brighton was 50-50.
But it was appalling. But that's part of the away performances that you're trying to justify.
This is mad.
No, who's justifying anybody? I'm giving reasons why I feel.
You're saying the
away performances still do not. The points for me do not correlate with the performances this season. I think
they do. But you're cherry
should have had more points away from home this season.
Against Palace, the performance was shocking. The second half of the performance was shocking.
Fully agree.
Leicester City, the second half performance was a massive drop off from the first half. What you're doing is you're picking the moments that are good, trying to use that as your kind of sales pitch, but then ignoring the negativity of the performances we've actually seen this season. Coventry was shocking. It was
league games. I'm talking about league games.
I'm talking about any away game. Any away
hang on a second. You say Coventry shocking, but then you poo-poo Ferencváros. You can't have it both ways still.
I'm talking about the performance because you're talking about performance.
Coventry was a smash and grab. That was an out-and-out robbery.
Was that a good performance?
It was a shocking performance.
You're the one using performance to justify.
But we had 9 changes still. We had a team that had never played together.
Coventry made 7, and they're a championship team.
I'm not interested in Coventry. I'm talking about Tottenham. We're talking about our performance, not Coventry.
Away games. We're talking about away games.
Correct.
It's an away game. Yeah.
We had 9 changes.
So you want to talk about
9 changes still. Hang on. You cannot make 9
They
changes.
made 7 changes. Why are you dismissing the opposing situation?
I'm not
just-
interested in, because we're discussing Tottenham. We're not
Ian, can I ask
discussing.
you a question? Let me ask you a question.
Against
By
the
your
opposition
theory,
they're playing.
this theory, right, of we should have had more points than we got.
Correct.
Couldn't every single Premier League team come out with this nonsense after every defeat? I mean, we could all. I bet Gary O'Neill is sitting there. What are they? Bottom of the table? I bet Gary O'Neill's sitting there going, should have more points though. His board are going to be like, but you haven't. You've got 3 points. We're rock bottom of the Premier League. Surely,
It's not my living, is it, Sav? So thankfully, I'm not in that position as with Gary.
Ian, it's not. But the thing is, we're being disingenuous here. What we're saying is we can praise the home form and say, God, it's brilliant. And we all are. But then when we tell the truth about the away form, we're not even allowed to do that. It's no, we've actually performed well. The first half against Newcastle, I don't remember anything really happening. I remember, again, lots of the football, nothing really happening. Second half against Leicester wasn't very good. Yeah, the game against Brighton, the second half was shocking. The whole 90 minutes was shocking against Palace. So where is this really good performances that you're telling us? Where are they?
Wait, can we ask JP Niggy, right? JP
Purely
Niggy.
Man United.
JP Niggy, do you think we've improved away from home in your eyes? You've heard the argument. Where are you two at on it? Because you've sat there just listening to it. Maz is eating his popcorn now. He's loving it. Where are you two at with it? You've heard us go at it for 20 minutes.
I mean, I personally, I don't think it's improved. At the end of the day, you go, but I literally treat a loss as a loss, right? If we played fantastically and battered a team and had 89 shots but lost a game, it's a loss, and it means means nothing at the end of the day. We've not, and kind of one of the things I can't see changing is, as you say, in performance. And how do we change it? We go into every away game, and the last, I can't remember those stats, it was something like 14, kind of like 4 wins at 19 or something like that.
Share that,
they just seem to be all the same, and we go into every game with the same mentality, which doesn't seem to me that even the manager's learning anything or trying to change anything or trying to tweak anything about it. I totally get your point, Ian, about, like less goals from set pieces, and we're not getting battered 5s by Newcastle. We only lost 1-0 and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a loss, and we're still going out with this gung-ho attitude of not really doing anything about it, but just, it's almost like see how it goes. We'll play the same way, or we'll try and play the same way as we do at home, and see how it goes away. But away seems to be a little bit harder, right? Away seems to be a little bit different. Whereas we have to be looking to change our approach in some way to be able to stop that rut. And it probably is a rut by now.
What about Iggy?
Listen, our away performances, the results have not been anywhere near good enough. Was it 14th in that league table? I understand to a point that by trying to improve on your performances, by improving even marginally, it would help you eventually get a better result. But fundamentally, the results are not coming through, and this 2024 calendar year has been really shocking results-wise away from home. We haven't picked up anywhere near the amount of points. The only good performances we did away from home was against Aston Villa, and we battered them and got a 4-0 result. But that is the last proper away win that I actually remember. We haven't even won an away game by fluke. So, the most recent one was that, we played really well against Brighton that first half, and we completely capitulated in that second half. And that to me tells me that the mindset to grind, sometimes to even grind out a result, playing badly, but grinding out a result, I just don't feel like we're there. That Palace one for me was really, 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 really bad because we didn't turn up. So and the thing is, and when we get it wrong, we get it awfully wrong. We get the in-game management wrong. We get the substitution wrongs. We don't seem to turn up. the Palace one. So I want to see. Yes, you want to see the performances to come on it, but I'll take a shitty away performance that grind out a result. Start putting some points on the board because fundamentally the performances will forget, but the results remain. And that's the part we'll remember. This shit we'll remember is the results. So yeah, listen, like we praise the team, and I praise the team when we do well. Every single game this year at home that we've won, we've deserved to win. We've put in a good performances, and we've got really good results from that. The Arsenal one, mate, did we deserve to lose? Would we draw have been fairer? I don't know, man. That's up for debate on that one. But even that performance that Arsenal put in that, was it a memorable performance? No, but they came to Tottenham with a game plan. Given the injuries that they had, they came with a game plan and then made sure that whatever happened, they were solid enough defensively to try and nick a goal and take that result home. And do anyone remember that performance? No, they remember the result though, and that's what we need to change.
Iggy,
No, I agree.
We
Can I ask
need
you a
we need
question?
to sometimes adapt
Iggy,
to
I wanna ask you a
away
question.
in away games because you need to be defensively solid. Sorry, defensively not make mistakes. The amount of mistakes that we're doing in terms of even the goals that we gave away against Crystal Palace, where the centre backs pass into another one and get caught. We can't do things like that. And to me, it all comes down to a mindset. We're going away from home, saying,
Iggy.
you know what, whatever happens, we all put in a shift, and sometimes we
Iggy,
don't do that.
I've got a question for you. I think you're the best person to answer this. Do you think our mindset would change if we one had a different captain, or two, we had older leaders in the first team?
The thing is, we don't have enough leaders in our team, certainly vocal ones. I think the last one we had vocal one was Højbjerg, and he wasn't my favourite player, but I will acknowledge that he had the voice in the camp. I look at this team right now. Sometimes when we go through the difficulties, and I've been there, we went with me, still JP was at Newcastle.
Did we need leaders at Old Trafford this season?
No. It's different because the Old Trafford.
Crystal Palace haven't won a game all season, and we're talking about leaders. Just.
No, but I was asked a question. I don't know, man. I can't.
No, I'm just throwing-
Well, it's relevant. But still,
if you want to argue with Maz about the question, fine. I'll step out.
you can. Don't worry, I'll bury Stel now and sort them out. Right? You can pick games in isolation, right? You can pick wins and say, "Oh yeah, but did we need this? Did we need that?" Right? Anyone can do that, but overall, over the balance of 2024, where our away form was so bad, what I'm effectively asking Iggy is the mentality not necessarily the mentality that Ange is projecting on the players in terms of his tactics, is the ethos, but is it the players themselves that are weak, i.e. they don't have leaders that if things aren't going to plan on an away day, right, or the crowd is against them, where there'll be one or two players that know when to put in that harsh tackle, know when to tell a player off and say, do this, do that.
But Maz, it wasn't going to plan 1-0 down to
cherry picking again.
Brentford, 1-0 down to Aston Villa at home.
Well, no, that's why I'm raising the point. I'm asking you the question.
Can I ask you something that I think is more linked to it? Because this I think what's happening is this thing like leadership and mentality, something that gets thrown around a lot, and people kind of latch onto it and they think, do you know what, is it that? Before the Brighton game, Ange was asked a question, and the journalist said to him, "You both play the same way. You both play high line, whatever. How are you planning to control this game?" And his answer was, "We won't." Do you think? Right, that's what he said, and he's right. He didn't. He lost control of the game. He was honest. We lost control of the game. Right, he meant what he said. Mate. Right. Do you think it's a case of just maybe we need to play a different way on the road against certain teams? Where do you know what?
And different way to skin a cat.
Yes,
I agree with
absolutely. It's not going to be just one factor, but for me, it's no coincidence that you've got the spine of the team, and this is our captains: Son, Maddison, Romero. To me, that is a massive problem if those three are your captains, because Sava articulated Romero quite well In
Everyone
at the start of
praised
the
it when he
trip,
first picked them, though.
right?
Do you remember them, Maz? Everyone praised
Well,
it.
we all did though, because you can only judge at the time what the players are like.
Who would you have?
Should we get
In
to Roy
this
But
current
hold
squad, who would you have?
You know, the
Hold
only
on,
one
let me
who
just
wants
finish
them
my
out,
point.
the only
Let me
one
just
who wants
finish my
them
point.
out on the pitch is Vicario. The only
Let
Only
me
one.
because I saw Ellie. I saw Ellie in the chat. And it just made me
Fine.
think of
No,
Boybeer.
Vicario's not a captain, man. No, stop this.
Can I just chime in with something, right? One thing
No,
I keep
I want to
hearing
finish
is-
my point.
Yeah, Maz, finish your point. Go on.
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry.
Go on, man.
Right. Sava articulated Romero very early on, which I think if he's a vice captain where no one can actually have a go at him because he's got that vice captain status, right? That's a problem. Maddison, all I've seen, his numbers are good this season. He's had good games and bad games, in my opinion, right? But if he throws, I think he's got a bad attitude. He whinges a lot, he moans a lot. He doesn't look like someone you would turn to for inspiration, in my point of view, right? I'm not saying he's not a good player, but I'm just talking about captain material. And Son, well, he's been in and out of the team, and let's face it, he's a bit of a softie, isn't he? He's not exactly going to sort players out. So if that's your leaders on the pitch, then you're going away from home where we haven't been very good. Who did some of the players turn to? That's what I'm getting at.
100%.
Because Ange isn't doing anything. Ange is like sitting there doing this.
Maz,
all game.
The thing is, whenever we lose an away game, one of the things I keep hearing is, is it the age of the team, right? Are we too young? Is it the young squad? I've just looked at the starting lineup versus Brighton, right? For example, the game where we collapsed, right? Vicario is 28 years of age. I don't know about you, but as a footballer, that's pretty experienced. Pedro Porro's 25, Romero's 26, Bentancur's 27, Maddison's 27, Werner's 28, Solanke's 27, Basuma's 28. I mean, there's a lot of experienced pros. Whether they're leaders or not is a different story, but there's enough experience across all of those players there that all play for their countries that we shouldn't be having this, are they young? Are they leaders? Because Stell's got a good point. And I know it was quite funny. He had a go at you via Riggy, which was very funny. But Stell has a point. When we win at Man United, I don't hear anyone go, but the leaders. Right? When we lose at Crystal Palace, who are bottom of the league at the time with no wins, it's, we just didn't have the leadership. Hang on. Crystal Palace had Wharton in midfield, played about 20 Premier League games in his career, right? They've got Sarr up top. They've got Eddie Nketiah, who's played how many games? They've got, do you know what I mean? Lacroix's got
but Sav, I didn't mention the age of the squad. I'm talking about the characters. Yeah, I'm just talking about the characters of the players, right? And for me, I don't think. Look, we've been saying for a while now that the team's a bunch of softies. There's no real men, right? Now, if you want men in the team, then there's ultimately going to be some leaders in there. But we don't have any real men in the team. We've got softies in the team. So they could be 35, 40, but if they're all
when the chips are down, like no one holds anyone responsible is what you mean,
exactly.
right?
Who was the last proper captain that we had?
Michael Dawson.
Steve Perryman.
But Sava, you said it best. I don't know whether it must have been like several weeks ago.
Stop saying nice things about me, Maz.
Mabbott, King.
Well, someone's got to pick you up.
I'm used to being called to see you, NT.
Ledley King. Ledley King was the last proper captain, man.
But I'll give you, I'll give props for it. You said, which I remembered because it was a very good point, is that where is that player, right, that knows when to put that tackle in to just stop things from happening?
I think Van der Ven has potential of being a good captain, because not necessarily a vocal captain, but one that leads by example. Because sometimes a captain doesn't have to be the loudest, but he talks at the right moments at the right time. It could be a quiet leader.
But that's what Vertonghen was like without being the captain of the team.
I'm saying Van der Ven has that in him.
Vertonghen knew when he needed to floor a player and stop things from happening.
I think Van der Ven has that in him as well.
Right. Guys, I think this is a little bit madness, this conversation, right? Arsenal have been one of the best
No, you're mad.
Informed teams for the past 2 years, coming second twice. Okay, now at the moment they've lost a couple of games on the road, and it's crisis at Arsenal. Do they talk about not having leaders? Do they talk about not having?
They talk about not having strikers.
Right. So they look at their players and they're now questioning Arteta. Right? They're now questioning why isn't he changing it, this and that. For me, I think our problem is pretty straightforward. We don't have the quality of players that can get on the ball, control it, and dictate the game. We used to have Musa Dembele and Modric. Right, give me the ball, I'll slow it down, I'll speed it up. And then we had players that would rise with them. At the moment, Johnson ain't going to do that. Kulu ain't going to do that. Madison, well, sometimes he's on the pitch, sometimes he's off. Werner's not going to do that. Son's not going to do that. Pepe Sar's not going to do that. He's not that player. So maybe Bentancur, but he's not doing it. We don't have a player that just gets their foot on the ball. Rodri at Man City will get his foot on the ball, calm it down. Follow me. I'll lead the way. I don't think it's necessarily leadership. I think it's the ability of a football player to control a game of football.
Yeah, that's called leadership still.
Right, but they've got Declan Rice.
I just say that about accountability.
Declan Rice has been doing that for Arsenal. He's not injured. Why isn't he doing it now? I think sometimes it's just tactical and quality of player. And I think on the road, maybe where it's harder on the road.
Come on, man. Don't try and distill this whole discussion now to just one point and exclude
I said
all the other
tactical
factors
and quality of
around it.
player. No, Maz,
Yeah, there's lots of different points. And the reason why I raised up this one specific point is I think it's a factor. I'm not saying it's the only reason. I'm saying I think it's a factor.
Maz, can I let me just go through the 5 points that I mentioned yesterday for my reasons for the poor points total away from home. Top of the list, hang on. Top of the list was mentality. Too high a line for away games. Too creative instead of too holding midfield players, which I think hopefully now has been sorted. Missed chances and in-game management. And for me, that it's a combination of those 5. And the mentality also filters into leadership. We haven't got leaders. We don't have proper leaders on the pitch.
Didn't Ange say, if I'm not wrong, when we're talking about all this,
all of that falls on Ange, by the way.
This manager came out 1 week ago, 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago max, and said, I can't remember the exact words. You know, there's 2 different ways to get leadership and seniority into the squad. You either buy it or you nurture it, whatever. This guy, I prefer this way. So this team not having leaders, having men, that's by design, out of his mouth. That's by design. I don't feel sorry for him. We can't. This is a time where we can't turn around and go, Levy, and just said it himself. He doesn't want to buy that. And said himself, he didn't want to bring in another centre-half because that would block the path for Vuskovic, who's not here, and Ashley Phillips, who's not here. So when we're talking about this is on him. He's created.
Yeah, I agree.
He's the one that has created this away from home. When we're not talking about leaders, whether we're talking about the age of the players, and I'm not having a pop at him, but if you are going to say, I don't want to buy them, I want to build it, we can't then turn around when we lose the next game and go, oh, well, maybe a bit of it was leadership. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You decided not to buy them. So,
and this is why, Sav, I don't think we're going to be consistent. Because
absolutely,
because it
takes time to build that as well, right? It's not like you just go, okay, I'm going to build
a year and a half.
But it's not here for 3 years. You really think he's going to be 3-4 years, JP? No.
Ian, do you agree that the points you listed are they're all on Ange?
No, I think missed chances aren't.
He signed the forwards.
Oh, come on. There's all these boys.
Okay, Ian, missed chances not. The other 4?
The other 4, in-game management, too high a line, too creative instead of too holding. Yes, on Ange, mentality. These players should be stronger mentally.
But he said he needs to develop it, not bring them in. So that's going to take time. So until he changes his ways, then that's on him as well.
but still, these boys are playing at the Premier League. They're top professionals. You know, you're not a mug if you play in the Premier League.
Well,
So
Timo
these-
Werner-
that doesn't mean okay. Do you agree the majority of your points are on Ange?
Yeah, for sure,
Okay, fair enough. No, fair enough.
for sure.
I mean,
He
my
said
main thing
you
with
can
all this
either go and
mentality
buy it.
thing-
Sorry,
Go
sorry,
on.
JP. Go.
No, I was going to say my main thing with all this mentality thing is, and him wanting to nurture it, is that he made a big point about I go and speak to the players before I buy them, and if I hear, I can then gauge if they're the player who wants to play for me or to play in my team. So at that point, he should also be gauging what their mentality is like. Are they a leader? Are they strong Are they strong vocally? What sort of leadership are they going to give me on the pitch? And if that's not part of his chat or it's part of his discussion or part of his criteria, then
Hang
that's also a miss, right?
But JP, his actual words, right? Because he said, we're struggling in difficult moments because we lack maturity and leadership. There's two ways of dealing with that. You either go and buy it, acquire it, or you can wait for it to develop within your own group. We've gone down this way because I think that's better for me. Now, when people are saying, oh, Sava's still listening to what Ange said, Ange had no need to say that at all. If that's what he thinks, he had no need to do that to press. But you had, listen, and again, not revisionism. I don't think he's good enough. But if you're going to go and let Pierre Højbjerg go, you've got to replace him. Like, whatever you think of Højbjerg as the ability, he is a captain of sorts. He's an experienced midfielder, and he was hardly ever injured. Surely to goodness, guys, if you let Højbjerg go, plus Lo Celso, plus Ndombele, plus Skip, you've got to go and buy a midfielder or two that have got some leadership, some seniority. So for me, this is all on him. The away form, he's telling us, I don't want the leadership. He's told us, I don't want it until we grow it together. But
So-
like I said, will he be here in 2 to 3 years so we can go, right, who are these players he's
All these
talking about?
kids have now gone into leaders. Archie
Van der
Graves and
Ven?
stuff like that.
Porro, I mean, who's not a kid, by the way, Dogi, like, who is he talking about? Because he can't be talking about Maddison. He can't be talking about Vicario. He can't be talking about Bentancur. These are senior pros in 26, 27, 28. So if he's talking about the youngsters, is he going to be here in 3 years to say, there you go, I've spent 3 years, I've made Van der Ven a captain? Will Van der Ven be here in 3 years? So for me, sorry, this is on him. This is on him. He had the chance in the summer. He didn't want to buy it. He's told us he didn't want to buy it. So the away form, Stel, I see what Stel was doing there straight away. Of the 5 points that you gave Ian, 4 of the 5, maybe all 5 are all on the manager. Arguably the ones that you're saying where he's missed chances, but he bought Odegaard, he bought Solanke, he bought Johnson, he bought Werner. These are his forwards. The forwards that are players, they're his signings.
I've got to
So
admit,
at some point, if we're going to praise him for the home form, I am critiquing him for the away form. That's got to be fair.
I've got to admit, Solanke, I wasn't impressed with him in the first half. I was quite abusive on the old text about him. But second half, I thought, wow, I think he put in a really good shift. I think he's as a player, he's so much better than Richarlison. Like in terms of his touch on the ball, his reading of the game, his pressing, his decision making. I hope if he carries on like this and he puts in similar performances, he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. And that good on him.
Ran himself into the ground in the second half.
Yeah, good on him. We've got to. If a player's doing their best to prove people wrong, then I think we need to applaud that. And I was really pleased that he done that in the second half against Aston Villa for sure. And the goal he scored was excellent.
He took his bink goal really well, to be fair as well.
Yeah.
And guys, when anybody moves into a new job, wherever it is, in whatever field, whatever sector, it takes time to settle in. And footballers are human beings; they're no different.
Yeah, but I agree in principle, Ian. But for me, Solanke needs to hit the ground running. Same with Richarlison. Right, these are Premier League players, big money.
They've come
Need to
from the
come
same
into
league
Spurs and do it. I ain't got time to wait for him for 3 years for him to turn into something.
No, Maz. I'm not saying 3 years, but you know, your first game you played against Leicester, he hadn't played for 4 weeks. He got injured. He's out for another 3 weeks. Hang on, it takes time. You know what athletes are like. They need games. Footballers need games to be match fit to get up to speed. And now I think it's taken time. It's taken 3 months, but you're now starting, hopefully, to see Solanke, performing the way that
he's got to carry on, though, doesn't he?
By watching him at Bournemouth last year.
He's got to carry on. I mean, look, his stats are not good in the 9 seasons before, right? He's had 1 good season. For me, he's got to do it this season. Otherwise, it's a big waste of money.
Interesting.
However, though, from off yesterday's game, he really impressed me in the second half. I was like, okay, I can see something in him. In the previous games, he's had a good touch here and there. He's done a few things good here and there, but he wasn't as influential as he was in that second half. If you can carry that on, then I think he's going to be a good player for us.
There was something missing, wasn't there? Previously, he was doing a lot of good work, but there was still something missing, and it was around the box. He wasn't getting into the 6-yard box enough. He was, wasn't getting on the end of things. But
I will say this, though. I will say this, right? And we have been really, it's almost criminal that we've done this. Is when Kane came into the team, we went from having 2 good strikers or 3 good strikers in our squads to Kane coming in and just having 1, right? I hope Levy doesn't carry this on by just saying, okay, I've got Solanke now. We'll sell Richarlison next year, and that's it. We've got Solanke. I really hope that we buy another couple of strikers like we did in the past. We had Berbatov, Kane, Defoe, then we had Pavlyuchenko, Adebayor, and whoever else, right? We always had a selection of strikers that at least were half decent. We need to go back to doing that. Otherwise, we've got no chance.
Maz, I can see Richie going. I can see Lancashire coming through, hopefully.
Yeah. Let's see.
That's getting rid of that kind of, like you say, experience, but that kind of old head, and just trying to fill it with a youngster, right?
Well, listen, Richie's permanently injured. It's what's the point? It's like
it's no miss. It's no miss when he's
better than Lancashire.
There's some good players in the Premier League, man, that you can pick up, that you probably see that have a little bit about them, and you just think to yourself, we just need to identify what it is. If we are looking around for some gems at low cost, if you like, to then one day become that wonderful player and striker, it's fine. But we have to be the best at going and picking them all out. Before they become big and other teams step in to get them off you. We need to have a recruitment system that works in England and abroad, and say, do you know what? We will snap up any young talent out there and bring them to Tottenham. And I think that if we're going down that route, if we're going to go down the route where we can go and buy and spend money, which is very unlikely, but if we're going to go and get the best, because at the end of the day, you're right. We've had the Defoes, we've had some really good footballers, especially up front, and we've always had that number 9 where can really a killer in front of goal. And right now, I know Johnson's, he's getting towards the double figures, and in terms of scoring goals, he's doing his bit. The other side, Richarlison, Solanke starting to score now. I don't know, man. Maybe they will become good. I don't know. But we ain't got killers up front. We haven't got killers like proper. Thinking sometimes these guys might have 2 or 3 chances before they score the goal, and some games you might get that 1 chance only, and you need to be clinical.
Iggy, I want to see us proper. I want to see us in what we should have done this summer. I want to see next summer. I.e., we know that Sonny is on his last legs in terms of the last couple of years.
Be brave, go and get someone.
Go and get a Mitoma. Right, go and buy Matoma.
Spend the money.
How much do you want? Go and buy Mbuemo, a player that can play through the middle, down the channels. Like, I want to see us go and get some. Not. I
But
don't
you're
want the-
talking about go and get the proven player, but spend the
Yes.
money on them.
Yeah. But what I don't want to see is
yeah.
I don't want to see us do this thing where we go, oh well, we don't need to buy anyone because we got Mikey Moore, or we don't need to buy a forward. We got Lancashire. Like these should be nice to have. Good young kids coming through. These shouldn't be the people that we're saying, right, we want to go and win things. We're putting all our eggs in that basket. Like,
No,
like
it
on the
will
wing-
actually help those players' developments by having quality
That's
players.
an amazing
But-
amount of pressure on them, isn't it?
But go
But
and buy, like, look at the Semenyo of Bournemouth. If we're serious, go and get Semenyo and stick him on our right wing and let him fly at teams. Right? We don't make signings like that. We'll
Do you
go
know
and
what,
get somebody.
I saw a report today linking Spurs to Semenya, funny enough.
But we don't all have to be football geniuses or scouts. You watch him and go, what would he do on our right wing? Because listen, for all Brennan Johnson's tap-ins, right? Let's be fair. Sorry, I'm going to say it. Brennan Johnson scores some goals, right? But as a right winger, our right wing is null and void. We're completely ineffective. How many times yesterday Brennan Johnson gets the ball on the right wing?
Didn't take a man on.
Every time I said it, he's going to turn, cut in 5 yards. Imagine we had a winger like Semenyo or Matoma there that gets the ball, beats a man, whips in a cross. We don't go for them. We
Do you
don't
know the
seem
worst
to go
thing?
for
Do
killers.
you know the worst thing that happened to us was that Johnson started scoring goals, because now we're not going to go out and buy a proper right attacking player that's got the whole
Agreed.
package. Now we're going to get this half-bit player that scores the odd tap in here and there, does fuck all else, and we're now not going to go and buy the finished product that we need. We're now going to be stuck with him.
Why
Still,
do you
just
not
quickly,
think
Jimmy Costco, please listen to what I'm saying. When you're saying we don't make signings like this, I'm talking about out wide. I'm talking about when was the last time we bought a killer winger? That's
You're
what
like Matoma from Brighton.
When did we get an Embuemo, a Matoma, a Semenyo? We keep buying Lucas Moura's, Bergwijn's, with Werner's, Johnson's. The point I'm making is go and get a top winger. Sorry, I heard your conversation. I was eating McDonald's again. Even Son. How many times does Son run at his fullback these days? We're the only team that play 3 forwards and the 2 wingers can't beat a man. We've got.
We need to sign a proven player in that position in the league, right? A proven player. Like when Arsenal signed Trossard, they signed a proven player that comes off the bench. They're starting him now, so it's not quite working. But as a super sub, Trossard was proven, and he's done it for Arsenal off the bench. We don't sign that proven player from within the league. I think that's what we need to do. And there's lower teams below us that we can make. Why can't we get Mbeumo from Brentford? Why not?
Yeah,
they're Brentford.
No, can you imagine Mbeumo, Mitoma with Solanke in the middle, a fully firing Solanke?
Awesome.
You've got a good front 3 there.
Right.
Agreed.
Not hard, is it? It's not hard.
And Solanke's going to get service from those 2. Because in fairness to him as well, he's had bugger all service this season.
No, that's his fault because he's never been in the box. Isn't it funny? The one game he gets in the box, he gets 2 crosses and scores.
I know we want to end the show in a few minutes, right? But I just want to say this one last point. Johnson, aside from his tapping, I think he was crap yesterday.
I think he's crap every game apart from... Listen, he's got a knack. He's got a knack of drifting into the box and getting a goal. I will not knock him for that. But as you said, watch us when the ball goes out wide to that right-hand side. Left backs are not worried about playing against us because he cannot beat a man for love nor money. He runs in.
I don't like his defending. I don't think he backs up Porro properly. I really don't.
Yeah, we've said that a lot because the other thing I noticed like recently as well is that when Porro gets the ball, he doesn't really hug the touchline. He comes inside and leaves all that space out there. And you go, you could quite easily get the ball and run down that line.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Imagine we had 2 top wingers. Honestly, you know, in that game against Brighton, you know, where we were unlucky, according to Ian, right? In that game against, sorry, I'm just kidding, Ian. You know, in that game against Brighton, Matoma and Minte on the right, they tore our fullbacks a new one, right? I've not seen Spurs wingers do that. And I'm not talking about the odd moment, like Sonny got a great cross for the goal. But when was the last time our winger gave a fullback an absolute torrid game where you've seen the fullback have to go off because he's being absolutely torn to pieces?
Well,
We don't-
funny enough, Brighton's manager pulled the right back off at half time and put a stooping on because Werner was taking the piss out of him the whole of the first half. If you're talking about beating a player, we know Werner made the goal for Maddison, so you can't turn around and say he was completely shite that day. But
You know what I mean, Ian.
I know what you mean. You're beating your fullback for fun. You're weaving in and out. You're creating chance after chance. It's been a long while.
Making him busy.
Bale,
It's been a long while.
yes.
We don't do it.
The
last, here you go. I'm going to call it. Sorry, I know you need to end the show. The last top forward Tottenham signed, whether that's a winger or a striker, the last top forward, who is it?
Gareth Bale, we've got him on loan.
Berbatov.
Yeah, it must be Gareth. Must be Gareth.
No, but like properly full signing, not a loan, a proper full signing. Who's the best?
Van der Ven, Van der Ven. In my
Van der
opinion.
Vaart.
You're thinking of Van der
The
Vaart.
one I got excited about. The last one I got
Van der
excited
Vaart.
about.
Still,
Oh,
exactly.
Son.
It was,
Yeah, but-
it was Son.
Son.
10 years ago.
Yeah, we
Everyone
picked
else-
him up. We picked him up from Leverkusen, an unknown. But although Van Nistelrooy said,
He was
he's seen his
22
ways.
million. It wasn't cheap. Got to tell you, he was more money.
How much was Richarlison and Solanke?
No, that's right. No, but Son at the time was bought for more money. You go through the rest of the players in that team.
Yeah, but he was scouted. He was scouted. I think Van Nistelrooy was putting the word the feelers
Son
out.
actually had a good
quality.
season in Germany the year we signed him.
He was
That's
good
right,
that
yeah,
season.
Wasn't it?
That's right. But Lloris was 12, Dembele was 15. Toby and Jan were 11 and 12. These.
Who cares about the price if we scout talent?
But do you see my point, guys? Like,
The
if you look at
there
the
are
long
gems
list-
out there.
The long list of wingers and forwards, I think it's something like 19 forwards in wide men or strikers we've signed since Son, and Son's still.
The best.
Do you know?
Our recruitment's been shit.
That's
It's
absolutely
shit.
crazy. Right, let's wrap this then. So Thursday, what were we thinking quickly? Quick once round, everyone. Iggy?
Thursday, we're hey, again. I mentioned it earlier on about Galatasaray. It depends the team we put out there. If we put a strong team out there, then we can get a result. I've said this on yesterday as well. We can get a positive result, be it a win or at very worst a draw. If we start mixing matching and we put a team together just for the sake of putting it together at tough ground, like Galatasaray is for any team, then I don't see us coming out with any result other than the defeat. And it's they have to win as well, so they have to also get a result together. It's a shame because I think like a Galatasaray win, for me, we put ourselves in a really good position in terms of qualifying.
Yeah, because that'll
to the
be
next
what,
round.
4 out of 4, right? That's
Yeah,
not-
man. So for me,
we will. Yeah, Galatasaray.
yeah, no. For us, I'm talking about.
yeah,
For me, the quicker we can wrap this up, the better. In my
Yeah.
opinion, that's how I see it.
Yeah. Still, quick summary.
We're not going to
Thursday?
put out a strong team because we've got to fly back to England the next day, and we've got a game in the Premier League 2 days later. So it's going to be a B
Sunday, right?
team, and I predict Osherman's going to score, and I predict that Sanchez is going to pocket Werner as well.
I wish we made the changes against
Thank you.
Ipswich. I wish we would make the change against Ipswich because I think that's more manageable to make the changes and still beat Ipswich than going away to Galatasaray with a chopping
I
change.
think a loss in Europe has been coming. If you watch the games, it's been coming, and I think this is the one where we get served. We get served up. This is the one. But we'll still qualify. We'll still finish top 8 to qualify eventually, so it doesn't matter.
I agree exactly with what Iggy said. So that's what I think.
Another one on the fence. If this, when I do it, I get called caveat king. All this stuff. When they do it, it's all right.
That's not caveat, man. I don't know what fucking team we're going to put out, man. How can
What
I
do you think
determine a
Andrew will
result?
do? Predict it.
Maybe
Let's
If he
Yeah,
makes the
right.
changes, then he ain't going to get the result.
We
you think
bold,
it's-
Iggy.
If he
Be
makes
bold.
the changes,
I said
He's going to put out. This is what he's going to do. I'll tell you exactly what he's going to do. He's going to put Gray in, right? He's going to put Bergvall in.
As
He's
centre
going
back.
to put Werner in, right? He's probably going to leave Johnson in the team. He's probably going to leave Solanke in the team, I would think.
Yeah, Maddison will come in.
Yeah, Madison will come in. He's
Richarlison,
probably going to
obviously.
rest Kulu,
that
I think.
team
He
for
might
me,
even rest Bentancur. He might play Papasar, and he'll play Basuma. I
See,
think.
Maz, that team
Oh,
for
actually,
me
no,
would be
because he just played
Ipswich.
Bergvall. He might. I don't know. He'll
That
probably
team would
play
be Ipswich,
Basuma.
in my opinion.
Bergvall.
I think the team's going to be Forster, Gray, Dragusin, Davis,
fucking
Adogi,
lost that.
Yeah.
Basuma,
Yes.
Bergvall, Maddison, Werner, Solanke,
Yes.
Johnson.
There you go.
See, that team for me would be Ipswich. Why can't we play that team
No,
against Ipswich?
I don't think they would.
I predict whatever
We're gonna
happens
beat
that
Galatasaray.
evening, right? I predict
What
whatever
with
happens
Archie
that
Gray
evening.
playing?
When we do our post-match show, I promise you, we will do an hour and a half on Archie Gray, regardless of the result. We will do an hour.
Just for you, Ian.
Oh,
Just for you, mate.
Guys, real quick. I need to figure this out how we're going to do it. I'll chat to the boys off stream. I've got like a whole load of programs from this season. Some are duplicates. Don't get me wrong, and they're all from my home games. Like the most recent one, Aston Villa
Got it
and
here.
the
There
EFL
you go.
Cup. Yeah, I've got Europa and other league games. I've got them all here. We're going to try and do some sort of I don't know. I don't know.
We'll do a live
giveaway.
raffle. We'll do a live raffle on Monday. Everyone
Yeah,
tune in on Monday.
and we'll
Next
try
week,
because
1 week.
I'm going to accumulate a lot more, obviously, during the course of the season. So I will we'll work something out where we'll
do a
give these
live
away to you guys.
All right. Ian,
Members
quickly,
and non.
Tell you what, JP.
Ian, summary quickly.
I think we'll get a draw Thursday.
Draw. Sava?
I think we'll get a draw. I think he'll keep the kids to maybe. I mean, he'll play Gray because he's going to rest Porro. Unfortunately, he's got to play, or he may play Porro, rest Udogi, who I think is desperate. Needs the rest, needs to be taken out. Form hasn't been great. Maybe play Gray on the left, Dragusin and Davis in the middle, Basuma, Bergvall, and I think possibly Sarr in the middle, and up front I think would be Werner, Solanke, and I think he'll play Mikey Moore. And I think that sort of experience for those three kids, I think, will be invaluable. I really do. It's all part of their development. And at the end of the day, everyone's saying, if these kids don't get minutes, what's the point of them being at the club? And everybody's right. You're right, still.
Give them Premier League minutes first.
Well, I mean, Sav and I were both saying that we'd both like to see Gray as a number 6 against Ipswich. If you're going to play him in midfield,
It needs to be in his position.
stick him in there against
It's gonna
Ipswich.
happen. It's not. We have this chat every
It
week.
won't
It's not going
happen,
to
but
happen.
that's the time it should happen, if any, right?
Right.
I'm not saying it will happen, but if you're
No,
going
I
to give
don't think
Gray
it will
some minutes, if he can't come in, against Ipswich at home, no offence, I don't think they've won a game all season, have they? Unless I'm wrong.
5 draws, I think, and 4 draws.
If he can't come in at home against Ipswich, who have not won a game all season, and play in central midfield with I don't care, Kulu and Bentancur next to him or whoever, then he should be at Tottenham Hotspur. Let's
40 million to get a centre mid to go play right back. Why not just go out and spend 40 million on a right back? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Or just play Jed Spence and put him in the bloody Europa Cup squad.
Spend that 40 million on something else. I don't know, man. I don't think we got
have
regular on
problems.
the left.
We're going to have problems at JP on Thursday. We're going to have problems, right? We've got no defenders. Literally, if Porro or Adogi are to be rested, which either one of those is rested, will be the only defender on the bench. We've got no unless he takes Dorrington, and I can't see it. We've got no defenders at this football club.
We should have kept Skip.
That's
So
worrying.
someone in the chat said, rest Dragusin and play who at centre half. How can you rest him when
Dragusin and Davis are playing, man? We know they're playing. I don't
Archie
think
Gray played centre back.
I don't
pre-season.
think we'll change the
Yeah,
goalie
Archie
either.
Gray's
I think Vicario will play. I think Vicario,
You know what?
Dragusin and Davis will all be enough team.
Do you know what, still? That's kind of my worry because he'll probably play Gray there because he did that pre-season.
No. I don't think that's
He
going to
won't
happen.
play, he won't play Gray at centre back. No way.
No chance.
If he plays left back, he's going to be up against Atgun. I'm not sure if anyone's watched Atgun play. He's a very, very tricky customer. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, Ian. Sorry. I think he'll take Archie Gray to the cleaners because he can't
He's not a
defend.
fullback. Sam, he's not a fullback. We can see that. Everybody can see that.
JP in the stream.
Tell your manager
End
that.
it.
Tell your manager that.
Pull it.
All right.
Udogi will play there.
Love
Udogi
you
will
all. No.
Can we just we haven't addressed the elephant in the room? You know who's going to score the winner Thursday night, don't you?
Werner.
Big
Ndombele.
Davinson Sanchez from a set piece. You
Big
can
Dave.
you can see it.
Big Dave up with his head.
Could you imagine? Could you
Well,
imagine?
that'll be a fun topic on the Thursday show, eh?
I'll tell you something. I just hope Solanke turns it on, because if he does, he will take Sanchez to the cleaners. Because Sanchez is shite. Come on, let's face it. He was poor for us. He had a decent first season, and after that, he was rubbish. Come on.
Yeah, he is rubbish.
Let's not
Their
beat
two
it.
forwards are good. Their two forwards will be a handful for us, right? Icardi and Osman. That's going to be really
This has been my criticism of the teams we played in Europe. None of them have got threat up front. As soon as we play a team with a threat, you're going to see a very. I think we're in for a shock on Thursday in terms of how bad this B team really is.
Well, they score a lot of goals, Galatasaray. I'm looking at all their results here. They score a lot of goals in every game. So
let's see what we do.
Let's see, Ange Ball.
We're going to go through anyway, aren't we? Sorry, JP. Sorry, JP.
No, that's right.
And Iggy, send me the shirt.
Right.
I can't believe that shirt.
Last words, anyone?
Good night.
It's been a pleasure, people. Speak to you soon.
Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah,
come on, Tottenham.
Absolutely.
The first game we look for, Robbie. The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.